has a man. Touchdown.
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown.
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown.
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown.
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown.
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown.
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown.
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best.
All right, what's going on, Gator Nation? Welcome back to SwampCast, man. It's Logan, it's EJ. Welcome back, baby. I just realized I need to change the intro video that we have, EJ. It's Billy Napier at the beginning of it, going, "Let's go do this." So that needs to be fixed. But other than that, man, how you doing, EJ, on this beautiful weekend, man?
Doing great. We the Gators were undefeated this weekend. And we needed this bye week because we got a lot of injuries, a lot of guys that need to get healthy. And this is the biggest game of the year coming up against Georgia. I feel like we're always battered and bruised, but let's see what we can give them.
There you go. And yeah, we are definitely battered and bruised. They've been really, really quiet on it and any injury updates this past week. So we'll get into that, of course, when we talk about the game, whether if Castell's coming back, some of these other guys, if Denson's any better. Like, we genuinely have no clue. So we'll we can dive into that in a little bit, but we really haven't had any injury updates. They're being really hush-hush about it, which honestly makes sense. You know what I mean? When you play as SEC conference games, you actually have to give them an injury report. Was it that
Yep.
Wednesday as you get close to the Saturday?
Yeah.
But you don't have to on a bye week. So I think that's why they want to be, hush-hush and give Georgia, which already does not have a lot of information at all on this Gator team, at all on this Gator offense on how it's going to be ran, as many question marks as possible for them. And so I'm pretty excited to see kind of how that's going to turn out. And then it makes it hard for the podcast. It's fun for the podcast because we can sit here and hypothesize and go over, fun estimates on like what's going to happen and fun guesses on, hey, is this going to change? Are we going to see more, more 3 receiver sets, and less, 13 person, like what are we going to see out here? And so there's a lot of fun stuff that we can, question and hypothesize here. That's exactly what we're going to be doing today, man. We're going to be diving into the Georgia prep. We're going to be diving into the coaching search update that we're going to do. You know what I mean? Are some of the coaches that because we dropped our entire list, which is on the YouTube right now. Me and EJ gave our top 4 coaches and then our honorable mention for the 5th. So you could guess who our number 1 is. But after that, we kind of went separate ways for sure, and we had some really fun picks in there. So go check that out and give us your guys' picks as well. And I would say some of my opinions have changed after this past week, which is pretty interesting. And so we'll get into all of those games from the coaches that were on our list and how that is influencing our picks. And then we'll, of course, get into the Week 10 slate that we have coming up, which we do every single week. So let's go ahead and dive into it, EJ. Start recording here. The Florida Gators are going to be traveling to Jacksonville this Saturday at 3:30. Used to be CBS, now I think we're ABC. And we're going to be playing the Georgia Bulldogs. I think the new AP just dropped like 20 minutes ago. I think it did. I haven't looked at it. I don't know what Georgia's ranked at the moment. But when we do our slate later, I don't have any numbers on them because, once again, we started this kind of before the slate was released. But we're playing in Jacksonville. This is a Georgia team that is pretty solid. I'm going to throw them on the screen right now, their schedule. They only have one loss, and that's against an Alabama team that is extremely dangerous, obviously. When they came to the Hedges and got the win at Georgia, which was just incredible. They're coming off of a bye week, obviously. Their last game was a good win over Ole Miss, and Ole Miss looks even better after traveling to Norman and getting a big dub. I mean, that's 2 weeks in a row for Ole Miss, traveling and good bounce back game for them this past weekend. But Georgia gets the dub against Ole Miss there, 43-35 in a really, really fun game while we were in Gainesville watching the Mississippi State game there. This is a pretty good Georgia team. Like I said, third in the SEC, 6-1. EJ, what's your overview? We have obviously a lot of stats, a lot of fun stuff to show you guys here going forward. But what's your overview on this Georgia team?
Well, I'll first say, here's the deal, guys. Florida, as bad as the sky is falling for us, we're in a three-way tie for 8th place in the SEC right now. We're in a three-way tie with Missouri and Oklahoma. And believe it or not, we're a half game above LSU, who is 2-3 in the conference, which is crazy to think about. But anyway, when you look at this Georgia team, I know we look at we love the PFF ratings and all that, but they are I always like to compare them to like who we've played so far so that we can kind of get somewhat of an idea. They're from a profile standpoint, they're very close to Texas A&M. So they're extremely except they don't have the offensive and defensive line player by player strength power ratings that you have at Texas A&M. Texas A&M is playing better on the line of scrimmage than Georgia is this year, which is why Georgia has had some relatively close games with teams like Tennessee. Obviously, the Alabama game, they did not win that one. And then their most recent game with Ole Miss, they could not control the line of scrimmage. They had to use intangibles and some really good coaching from Kirby Smart to eventually put themselves in a position to win those games late when they were trailing. That in and of itself should be an indicator that Georgia is a significant favorite in this game, is that they've just got a coach in Kirby Smart who, when he first started at Georgia 10 years ago, he was the guy that was criticized for, not making the right calls and, making the wrong adjustments. Now he's become one of the best coaches, probably the best coach in the country when it comes to making adjustments and putting his team in the best position to win. Georgia right now is the 25th best defense in the nation, 313 yards a game. We've got the 91st best offense. So, hey, we're top 100. That's all we've been asking for. 363 yards a game. The Georgia offense is 39th nationally with 427 yards a game. But the Florida defense is 41st nationally at 337 yards a game. So that's going to be the matchup that is probably going to be the most interesting to watch. I think when you look at the Florida Gator defense right now, our injuries, particularly in the secondary, are very, very troubling for this game. Gunnar Stockton, the guy has 1,500 yards passing, 10 touch. He's a 10-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio right now, 70% completions. His QBR is second in the nation, so he's playing basically borderline Heisman level quarterback play right now. Had they had beaten Alabama, he'd probably be on the short list. Mm-hmm. His last game for Ole Miss, 26-31 at 84% completion, 289 yards, 4 touchdowns. And he's also deceivingly really good runner too. He can run that ball. He is an extremely gifted player that doesn't get as much pub as he should get. The other key offensive players for Georgia, Chauncey Bowens, the running back, Nate Frazier, the running back also is really good. Zachariah Branch is the one wide receiver that kind of reminds me a little bit of Concepcion over at Texas A&M. So he's going to be kind of scary for us to handle. Particularly, we got true freshmen out there. And then defensively, they got a few guys. Everett at cornerback and Dalo Jones at corner. And C.J. Allen, who's pretty much all SEC defensive linebacker.
Probably one of the best definitely one of the best linebackers in the country, and maybe the best.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's just like pretty much all over the place. So it's kind of like, what are we gonna do with that guy? So all in all, I think this game is going to be determined by the Florida Gator defense. Can we create turnovers? Can we create havoc? The Georgia offensive line has not been as dominant as, let's say, Miami or Texas A&M's. But given a week to prepare, given Florida's injuries, maybe they have something to go for. And the reason why I think that's the most important matchup is Kirby Smart is a very smart coach. He knows, hey, if the first few drives we give up points to them because we have to adjust to what they're doing because we haven't seen the types of plays that they're going to be running. We know their tendencies. We know what that Florida Gator defense is. So let's go all in on what is a game plan to attack this defense and score as many points as we can early, knock them out, force them to get in that mentality where they have to make a comeback, and then guess what? All out blitz, we're getting to Lagway, game over. That is the game plan for Kirby Smart, in my opinion. I think we've got to counter that with continuing to score offensively, which is going to be very difficult for us to do. But if we can score and we can contain the Georgia balance with their running attack, we got a shot to keep the game within, striking range. So that's kind of the they're sort of an in-betweener between Texas A&M and Miami, in my opinion. And we all saw how those games went. They were close in the first three quarters. Then both those teams busted wide open against us in the fourth quarter. Georgia is probably a very similarly profiled team.
100%. Yeah, you mentioned Gunnar Stockton. He's very efficient quarterback, man. Is just so accurate at times. Coming into the season, he didn't impress me last year at all in the playoff. He played well in that game. I just wasn't a big fan. He showed some toughness, but that was about it. And he's proven me wrong. I think he's been one of the most shocking quarterbacks for me this year. He is just, like I said, so efficient at times, man. And 83 grade on PFF. His accuracy in decision making is like I said, definitely one of his key points in his game. He doesn't turn the ball over, like you said, only one interception on the year. And it was a downfield shot that was intercepted. Now, I will say this. I feel like he could definitely be more aggressive as a quarterback. He is a little bit more conservative at times. This Georgia offense, it's explosive, but it's really about getting these wide receivers open in space, right? You'll see a lot of that, like you were saying, with Zachariah Branch on the outside. He's a very quick dude. Of course, I came over from USC, and a guy who can just, if he gets an open space, he's really, really hard to bring to the ground. And so I think a key to this game for this Gator defense is going to be tackling these guys in open space. And like you said, Gunnar Stockton also a really good runner there, so that's going to help out their run game. But that Georgia run game is already pretty good on its own. It's a lot better than what it was last year. Like you said, you have Chauncey Bowens and Nate Frazier. And I'm going to show you guys something real quick on PFF on the screen. If you see both of these guys right here, they love to run to the left edge. That is a big, big key to this rushing game on this offense. They really run to that side way, way more to any other part of the line. I guess they like that left tackle. I think they like that tight end there as well, blocking on that left side, but they like to run it out toward that way. So just something to keep an eye on. Like you said, EJ, Nate Frazier's solid, but Chauncey is definitely the more explosive guy. The guy that you've seen break a lot more big runs this season, and can be also dangerous out of the backfield in the passing game as well. They've used him in a lot of different ways. So definitely just keep an eye out for these running backs because they have struggled to run the ball still sometimes this season, like you were saying, EJ, in some of these big games. And I think that's why Gunnar Stockton's PFF play action grade isn't great, because you can't really do play action when you can't run the ball on these teams. And I think I have that right here to show you guys as well. Yep, right here, play action. It's not horrible. It's a 70, but his no play actions in 84. And so I think, like I said, a big part of that is the fact that they sometimes have had trouble running the football, but it has been more consistent than last season. So you definitely got to give them that. Just an overall an offense that will move the ball on you, that will find explosive plays, that knows how to get the ball to their playmakers anywhere on the field. So they're going to cause a lot of problems. I think the big thing for them, for our defense against their offense, CJ, is going to be stopping the run. I think that's massive. My key to this game is to hold them to under 3.4 yards a carry. I think we can hold them under 3.5 yards a carry. I think the Gators have a better chance than if they're able to run the ball. Because if you let Bowens, if you let Frazier, even if you let the McCray guy, the transfer from Illinois, I believe, if you let him come in, all three of these guys run on us, we're not going to be able to stop them, because then that, of course, especially if we have Allen, if we have Alonzo Allen on our defense, who's a really good defensive guy, and has done a good job at safety, kind of stepping into that role. He's not great in the pass at all, and he's really good in the run fit. And because he's great in the run fit, he knows that he's good at that. He's going to lean more into his his strength as a defender, and you're going to see the middle of that field open up quite a bit.
Yep.
And so that's just something we really got to worry about. So I think if we can just stop the run, and then rely on our too high safety that Ron Roberts likes to play to take away those deep shots and force them to drive the ball down the field, I think the Gators can play offense with that defense a little bit for sure. So we'll see what happens there. EJ just showed me something really, really dope before we get into this Georgia defense, and it's the positions against, where's it at? Right here. This is so cool. So this is like basically our offense against the defense. We want our defense against that Georgia offense. So as you guys can see, the Georgia offensive line has struggled a little bit, and that is something that's pretty interesting. Is they have allowed the run blocking on PFF isn't great, as you guys can see right here. And even their pass block at times has not been great, specifically in these SEC games. So something to kind of, take a look at there. But the run block genuinely has not been great. I think that's why a lot of these grades for the Bulldogs aren't great on this line. And I would say that they stack up pretty well, EJ, our defensive line against them. So yeah, that's something to look at. And then, like I said, you're looking at these wide receivers. You have, Dylan Bell is 62, Zachariah Branch is 76, and Young out there with a 74. EJ was telling me if you're above a 70 on PFF, you're above average. So something to keep an eye on there. Obviously, here's what I'm worried about, EJ. I don't know if you have it pulled up on your screen as well. You have Grimsley out there, number 26. You have a lot of these young guys out there that are filling in for everyone, all these other guys that are injured. That's not our starting cornerback, and he's going to have to go against some of these really good, listen, this Georgia offense knows how to find the matchups that they want. They're going to know how to get guys on certain dudes, with formation changes and pre-snap movement. And so that is going to be something I'm a little bit worried about. The communication needs to be good, and everyone needs to play at least an average, a decent game to have a shot against this wide receiver group. I'm obviously not worried about Devin Moore. Devin Moore, phenomenal score there of pretty much an 80 on PFF. But everyone, and then of course Graham as well has been really great. Caraway has a really solid PFF, and Gums on the outside's been doing really well. Everyone else definitely has showed some issues. I feel like Sapp, though, is getting double teamed a lot throughout this season. I think that's why his grade's what it is. But he gets one-on-one. He could definitely make something happen. So yeah, EJ, do you have anything else you want to say against this Georgia offense against this Gator defense?
Yeah, Sapp has not really been able to it's sort of like a uh, what's it called when you buy one product but you need the other one? It's kind of like when you buy a toothbrush, it's pretty meaningless unless you have toothpaste, right? So sap is pretty meaningless unless you have um, the D tackle Caleb Banks that has been injured all year. If you had Banks on the field with Sap, now all of a sudden you've got a situation where Sap can start to take control. But without him, and we've got Burrow and Britton Bett, they've done good jobs. They've held up, but they haven't been able to really get underneath and really just underneath those blocks and just pummel offensive lines, allowing teams to really handle Tyreek Sapp on the outside. George Gums has been able to, do decently well out there, but you hit the head on the you nail on the head. Grimsley at corner, Caraway at corner, and then Allen at safety for us. What are we gonna do when you know Georgia's balance starts to really take control? Georgia is a 50-50, quite literally a 50-50 run pass team. Florida is a 60-40 pass run team. So we're much more predictable. Now, when you go back and you look at Georgia's games and you say, okay, well, how can Florida potentially, keep this game relatively close? We just go look at the Auburn game. Florida and Auburn are very similar teams. Auburn's a lot healthier right now on the defensive end, so that helps. But Auburn, they held Georgia to 79 yards rushing on 2.5 yards per rush on 31 carries. And conversely, ran for 140 on Georgia on 36 carries at 4 yards a carry. If we can have a similar attack where we are not allowing Georgia to maintain clock, maintain time of possession, wearing down our defense, so that in that fourth quarter, the dam is going to break like Miami, like Texas A&M. We've got to keep our guys fresh throughout the game, run the ball, make Georgia the defense that gets a little weary toward the end. That's really the only true key that we have. The other very quick thing is we've got a lot more things that check boxes we've got to check off to get the upset than Georgia does to beat us. Georgia's ability to stop explosive plays is a little bit worse than what it was last year. If you look at that Tennessee game, the Alabama game, you look at the Ole Miss game, they've given up some big passes deep. Maybe this is a game where Lagway and Dallas Wilson have a battle. Jaden Ball's got to get 25 carries minimum in this game. I mean, we got to just pretty much, hey, dude, here's the ball, power run. And then I think Gonzalez hinted at one or two things they're not quite ready for in his press conference. So does that mean trick plays, some surprises? We gotta throw the kitchen sink out there. Even if they tackle us for a loss, I don't even care at this point. That is what I think we've got to do to kind of have an opportunity. I'd really love if Vernell Brown and Aiden Mizell were clearly going to play in this game. It's a big detriment if they don't, because those are two guys that I really think could put some pressure on the Georgia defense, particularly the secondary. I think we're a little bit hampered without those two guys. But all in all, I think we got a shot. If we can get to the third quarter and it's a one-score game, I think we got a shot. Oh, I think you're.
Before we do go over to the Gator offense versus the Georgia defense, do you have a defensive key for the Gators in this game?
So the defensive key is going to be stop the run. um, Georgia's averaging 33 minutes time of possession per game, which is obviously they're averaging the possession longer than their opponents. We've got to stop the run. It's not going to be as difficult to do against Miami or against Georgia than it was against Miami and Texas A&M because I think the Georgia offensive line has not been as dominant as those two teams. So we've got an opportunity to really focus on the run. The challenge, though, is going to be because our secondary is so injured. Is Ron Roberts going to trust the secondary on one-on-one opportunities and load that box? Or is he going to run a base defense with 4 linemen and 2 linebackers, a 6-man box, which, that's sort of like a 60-40. Georgia has leverage in the run game. And that's the issue. So on first down runs, we've got to give up 1 or 2 yards max. If Georgia's cranking out 3, 4, 5 yards a run on first down, it's over. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty. We've got to stop the run on first down, and that's really our only shot. Yeah,
no, that I totally agree, and I had the same exact key when I said mine was 3.4 yards a carry or below for UGA. So yeah, we definitely need to step up in that sense. I totally agree. That's how you let them get comfortable. That's how that play action starts coming out, and they start hitting these deep shots on you, and you can't do anything about it. So I totally agree. Now, let's go into this Gator offense versus this Georgia defense, right? Hey, Kenny, what's going on, man? Kenny said, what's up, fellas? Just joining in. What we got? We have the Georgia preview, baby. The Georgia preview. We're just talking. We're talking about the we just got done talking about the Georgia offense versus the Gator defense. We're about to start talking about the Gator offense versus the Georgia defense. Now, one thing, it's funny, EJ, right? I feel like the Gator defense against the Georgia offense, we know it's going to happen. They're going to play a 6-man box. They're going to play the 4 linemen with the 2 linebackers and the 2 safeties. That is what Ron Roberts likes to do. And so that's one thing that I'm really, really worried about in this situation, EJ, is like you said, are we going to commit to stopping the run, or are we going to play scared, or not play scared but play safe, right? And yeah. I understand, like I said, especially before we go to the Gator offense, let's talk about the Gator defense real quick. Some of the injuries we have. We don't have Caleb Banks. We don't have LJ McCray on the line, and we also don't have Sharif Denson and Jordan Castell in the secondary. And some other guys are not 100% that have gotten beat up. I know I'm missing Robinson as well. So there's a couple of guys that are injured. There's 3 guys that are injured in our secondary. 2 of them that are, well, I guess 3 of them that are 100% going to be out. In Castell, and Denson, and Robinson. I'm assuming all 3 of those guys are going to be out. So you're relying on a guy like Grimsley, right, he has a 50 on PFF. Alonzo Allen Jr., who has a 72, which is good, but he's really good in the run fit, not great in the pass. And so you're going to have a lot, and we might have Hanks, come out there as well, Ben Hanks, and some of these other freshmen. And so that's just what I'm worried about a little bit. And so I get why he wants to play more conservative here because of the injuries, but you also can't let Georgia just run on you either. You know what I mean? So it's like kind of pick your poison type deal. At least on the first couple of drives, EJ, and Kenny, I totally expect them to establish that run. And I think Ron Roberts is going to be perfectly okay with them just running the ball down the field maybe on the first couple of drives, right? Get a feel for it, because at the same time, you also don't want Georgia to come out and throw a 75-yard bomb to Zachariah Branch on the left side either. You know what I mean? And picking on Alonzo Allen or some of these other guys and some of these freshmen. You also don't want that, right? So what would you do, EJ? I'm assuming you'd rather than probably run the ball down the field a little bit than just have a big explosive player right away, right? Like how do you feel about that?
So Roberts, so here's the thing. Coin toss. We don't have a strategy. Well, maybe we do now that Billy Napier's gone, but Billy Napier was the absolute worst at the middle 8, which we've lost half our games because of that. When the coin is flipped, the determination of who goes on offense or defense first is very important. So and Kirby Smart is a genius at the middle 8. So Billy Napier's, when he was a coach, he'd always want to defer because in his thought, okay, let's get our defense out there. Let's get a stop. Let's get the ball back. Oh, and then we'll get the ball to start the second half. Okay, that only makes sense if you have a scripted drive on your first and then a scripted drive with adjustments coming out of halftime, which he never did. I think we averaged a 70% punt rate on drives, the first drives in the second half when we had the ball to start. And many of those 70% were 3 and outs. So it's like you just wasted an entire possession. Ron Roberts' philosophy is going to be bend but don't break. That is his main identity. He'd be an elite defensive coordinator if we had a guy like Caleb Banks and then maybe one more elite defensive tackle so that we could put pressure on the run with just 4 guys. Because we don't have that, we concede 3 or 4 yards a carry on first down to these really good teams because he's so worried about matchups on the back end, giving up big plays on the back end, that he resources the back end with 2 deep safeties, cover 4, maybe a little bit of cover 2 on third and medium. But, that 1st and 10 is going to be a cover 4, 2 guys deep, 6-man box, a 6 to 9 yard cushion on their, wide receivers. And let's just see if our guys can make a play, and we'll condense things if they get into the red zone and force them to a field goal. The issue with that philosophy is that it's not aggressive. And then over the course of the game, your defense wears out because you're on the field. You're not getting stops and getting off the field. So what I would do in this situation, it comes down to, what do you want to do? Do you want to take a risk and say, okay, let's take a risk. Let's load the box. Let's make Gunnar Stockton beat us. Let's put pressure on him. And let's see if he can beat the pressure, right? Let's put Devin Moore on, who's the guy? Branch?
Zachariah, yeah.
Yeah, let's put they got one other really good receiver as well that
You got
Young.
Dylan Bell and Young, yeah.
Young is really good as well. So, okay, Colby Young. He's like the big tall guy. So, can you just put Devin Moore on Branch and just say, okay, good on good, load the box. Let's see what they got. I would be more inclined to do that. The issue with that is Georgia has shown they can score on that. Alabama is the only team that had a very similar philosophy of loading the box, keeping a single high, making Stockton be accurate, but they are a well-resourced and deep defense compared to where we are right now. That's the key. And if Georgia gets to the high 20s, low 30s in terms of points, that's enough for them to win this game. So, yeah. So that's kind of my. If I were the defensive coordinator, that's what I would do. But we'll see what Roberts does.
Yeah. I'm looking at Gunnar Stockton right now under pressure. Under pressure, obviously every quarterback's gonna. Well, I don't know. There are some quarterbacks that actually have a better PFF grade under pressure, which is always interesting. It's rare, but it happens. But with Gunnar Stockton, he goes from a kept clean of an 88.1 all the way down to a 52 when he's under pressure.
Yeah.
So just something to think about there. And so here's what I would do, EJ. I totally agree with you. Let me go back to Gator. There we go. I'm loading up the box for me personally because I think that our safeties have already struggled with guys getting behind them already.
Anyway, right.
Exactly, and Kenny was talking about that. And especially if Castell, our safety, is going to be out of this game, why not have Alonzo Allen, who's really good in the run fit, come down, play the run, throw Thornton up top. If he wants to play like Reggie Nelson out there, like he did in the Texas game, or I think it was Mississippi State game, where he came across, remember, laid out that one guy. If he's going to want to play like that in the back end, throw him way back there in a super high safety. You know what I mean? In my opinion, put him way back there, let him kind of play up top for, so no big plays happen. And then, like you were saying, EJ, throw everyone in the box. Put Alonzo Allen in that box. Let him play the run fit. He's comfortable with that. It's what he's good at. That's personally how I would play it, especially with Castell not being in there. But is, Ron Roberts going to do that? No, he's not. He's going to play that too high like you were talking about, and he's going to play conservative, and they're probably going to play that time of possession game on us, CJ, like you were talking about. And that's been a big issue. You know why this Gator defense has not been great against the third down? It's been because these teams get in third and short situations, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 2. These are manageable situations because we're playing too high. The box is always light, so they can do these little drag routes. They can do these quick screens. They can run the ball because they are going with the numbers. And when you play a too high, it's hard to win number wise, especially in the box. It's not going to happen unless you're Billy Napier and play a bunch formation. It's not going to happen, and so they need to. We need to play more aggressive. We're not going to, though. So, I mean, like I said, it's funny because we know exactly what our defense is going to do. We don't know anything about what our offense is going to do, and I think that's a good transition, EJ. If you have nothing else to talk about with this Gator defense, we could dive into this Florida Gator offense versus the Georgia. Go ahead.
Well, I'll just say real quick. Georgia has 296 rushing attempts on the year and 216 passing attempts. So they run the ball. They're a very, they're a run-first team. And if we sit back in a base defense because we want to bend but don't break, the defense is going to get tired, and Georgia's eventually going to break through and score easily on us. I completely agree with your assessment that we got to change it up. Load the box and say, okay, let's take away that 50% run. And that's what Auburn did. People, go watch that game. Auburn was like, look, we know we can't score on these guys. The refs screwed us with the fumble at the goal line. But let's load that box and say, Georgia, we are stopping that run. And Gunnar Stockton, you have to beat us. You're 83% PFF, you're 80% completion percentage, you're all these great things. Prove it. That's what Auburn did. And now Auburn's offense is not good enough to, score more than, 14 points. But it was a gamble that paid off for them. It gave them a decent chance. So I think, to your point, that's what we've got to do. Do the Mississippi State treatment. Put all 12 guys within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage and say, hey, Gunner, beat us, man. You got to throw an accurate deep ball. And here's the other thing that I don't understand. Pass interference is very valuable in college football, okay? If we get a first down and we're getting pressure on Stockton and he has to throw the ball and then we're holding a guy, I'd rather hold a guy and get pass interference for 15 yards than give up a 50-yard touchdown. Okay? So pass interference is very valuable in college football. Put the pressure, stop that run, load the box, force Gunnar Stockton to be All-American quarterback, and see if he can do it.
And Kenny made a great point. Just you have to keep Gunnar in the pocket because it's going to be an issue. And so you're right with that, EJ. Rob Bess is in the chat. What's going on, man? Said, I think this is the game the defense let us down. Yeah, I mean, EJ said that was going to be the Texas A&M game, and that was definitely Texas A&M game. And I think you're going to see the same exact issue here, and that's what EJ was talking about, right? Both these teams like to run the football and like to throw and have those big explosive pass plays. And so they kind of have the same philosophy in a way. And that's what I'm a little bit worried about, Rob, in this one. So, yeah, I mean, look, we know what the Gators are going to do, EJ. They're going to play it conservative. We know that, and I think that's going to really hurt this Gator defense and time possession. So,
and here's the thing. One interception thrown by Stockton all year. Like, are you kidding me? That's nothing. Freaking bring the house, make him throw into single. Well, even this one-on-one, I don't even care. They can beat us. But if he throws a pick, I kind of feel like since he never throws picks, and we throw like, he's our quarterback's got 9 interceptions. So, if he throws a pick, what does that mean? Does that mean, oh, maybe let's lean on the run? Oh crap, they're stopping the run. Like you got to give them something to like think about. If we're just coming out with the vanilla base defense and quote unquote giving them what the defense giving them what the defense gives them or whatever
taking what the defense
taking what the defense get, we're screwed. They're gonna roll down the field. It's gonna be like, oh, Georgia's humming along. They're a well-oiled machine. No, freaking take the tires out and then force them to drive on a flat and see if they can cross the goal line. But, that was the Auburn game plan, which I thought was brilliant. And I hate that, they don't like Hugh Freeze, but hey, it is what it is.
There you go. All right. This Gator offense versus Georgia defense, CJ. This is going to be definitely the story of the game. Every Gator fan's excited to see this. New play caller. Now, Russ Callaway's now the official offensive coordinator, even though he's not the play caller, and he's kind of overseeing the whole operation without Billy Napier in his ear. We got a lot we got to talk about here, EJ. We don't know what the hell's going to happen. What we do know is things that Billy Gonzalez has said, which is, like you were saying, EJ, they're going to have a lot of unexpected things, that they're going to open the offense up. These are all quotes, quote unquote. We're going to open the offense up. We're going to give our ball to our playmakers in space. We're going to find matchups that we like and spread the ball out. They said that they're going to spread the field. They are going to, which thank God. We're not only going to go 5 wide inside the 20, which makes absolutely no sense. Literally, like EJ, the only time Billy Napier would go 5 wide, empty set is in the inside the 20-yard line. Like,
and then 2 of those 5 were Jaden Baugh and Hayden Hansen, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. or 2 tight ends out there if you wanted to. It's ridiculous, man. So he said he wants to see that. Billy said Billy Gonzalez. Billy Gonzalez also says he wants to do more, 3 wide receiver sets, which is something we've been screaming for forever. Instead of all these, 13 personnel and all this stuff. We'll gladly do an 11 personnel all day. So we don't know what to expect. Like, we could sit here and try to guess and try to formulate and hypothesize what's going to happen. But, EJ, should we expect something totally different from this offense? Or do you think it's going to be just the same offense, but in a different font in a good way? Like, is there going to be certain things that we're going to see that we're going to like, or is it just going to kind of be the same old playbook and this every single play?
Well, here's the thing, guys. Based on PFF, Florida has played 3 quote unquote elite defenses according to PFF: Miami, Texas, and Texas A&M. Okay. LSU was elite, but they've fallen off the last couple of games, especially this last game against Texas A&M. They also gave up a lot of yards to Vanderbilt. So I say that to say Florida has faced really good defenses. Okay. The one wrinkle that we have is they don't know what the tendencies of the play caller is going to be in this game because the play caller is different. Kirby Smart understands that. So he's strategizing around. His focus is going to be, let's get our offense to score, which is why I think we got to throw a wrinkle at them and say, okay, you're not going to run it. Gunner, are you Tom Brady or not? Defensive or offensively, the one key that we have is the technical play calling in certain key situations in which Billy Napier typically was very predictable, right? um, whether or not we can execute third and short. Many of I was going back and looking at 1/3, so about 33% of our third downs that we have not converted were 4 yards or less. That is absolutely ridiculous. We should at least have gotten 50% of those minimum. Um, so the question is going to be, what is going to be the approach philosophically in this game? Now, the other thing is going to be the honeymoon of the honeymoon phase in game of the play calling. What is that? Kirby Smart is going to see how we approach play calling and what is our strategy for moving the football early. Is that going to be sustainable, or is it going to be 1 or 2 drives? Now, one of the things that I like is that the quote unquote scripted play or scripted first drive of the game, that is usually the only time we ever score a touchdown. Billy Napier apparently doesn't script those plays. So maybe if we had, a Russ Callaway, Billy Gonzalez, maybe they script the whole game, for crying out loud. I don't know. But usually when we fall out of those scripted plays and we have to now how are we going to do things? That is what's going to be the issue. Finally, the other issue is some of the player favoritism. You saw the only reason Jaden Ball has gotten so many carries is because Jacoby Jackson's injured. I don't think the player favoritism is going to come into play with Billy Gonzalez. I think he's going to play the hot hand. And I think he's going to go with what works. And so I think you're going to see a valiant effort. Now, what I would love to see if we score first in this game, the whole team go onto the field and do a celebration. What's the swim when you you come off the slide, the slip and slide through the end zone? The whole team slip and slide through the end zone, get the 15-yard penalty. I don't even care. Give us some energy, and hopefully that energy will last more than just a few drives. We've got to keep Kirby Smart on his toes, because when he gets a good feel for, okay, this is what we need to do to beat this team, is going to be game over.
I totally agree. You have to switch stuff up. Good news is, I think having this bye week is massive, because we have all the film on Georgia. We have losses, we have wins, we have should have been losses for them, right? Whether that's Tennessee game or arguably the Auburn game. And so I think you can take a look at that, and you have all that, and Georgia has zero information on you. They don't know what the hell you're gonna do. They don't know what the hell you're gonna scheme up, and yeah. So just to kind of wrap all that up, EJ, do you think you're gonna see something totally different, or do you think you're just gonna see new things here and there?
I think you're just gonna see down and distance play calling be a little bit more sensical. Okay. If that makes sense.
Yep. Which is we need, if we get that, I think we're able to move the ball a lot more. That's been a big issue for this team. So I totally agree with that. I think also too, you're going to see a lot more. I think personnel wise, you're going to see a big change. I think you're going to see a lot of guys on the outside. You're going to see Mizell playing a lot more. I think you're going to see way more receivers on the field at once. And I think that'll really help out DJ Lagway. One thing I'm really curious with is if this offensive line does struggle against this defensive line for Georgia, which, as you can see, there's a couple of really good guys on that line there. Whether that's Miller or Johnson on the edge, and Allen too that blitzes sometimes. Can this offensive line for the Gators give DJ time? Which they're probably not, from the evidence on how this year's gone. And what it's told us. But if they do get to DJ, what are we going to do offensively? What is Ryan O'Hara going to do to try to give him time, right? Or is he going to try to roll him out? Or is he going to do the Billy Napier thing of just keep, letting DJ just drop back and get sacked, all the time and get pressure on him, which is leading to him getting injured? So I'm really curious to see if Ryan O'Hara, what he does and is really his adaptability to this Georgia Kirby Smart defense, EJ. I think that's going to be really intriguing. So I'm really, really excited to see that matchup. That's probably my favorite matchup of the day. Now, this guy right here, you guys see on your screen, Mr. C.J. Allen, one of the best linebackers in the country, if not the best linebacker in the country. Get the ball away from him. Whatever side of the field he's on, throw it to the other side. Don't go near him at all. Because one thing this Georgia team does that we saw, like with LSU this year, for example, is this defense flies all over the field. You throw the ball to someplace, and those guys swarm the ball. That's just good defensive coaching. It's something that we haven't really seen at Florida a whole lot in recent years, but it's something that a lot of these really good SEC defenses and good defenses in general are coached to do, is see the ball's there, fly toward it. And that's something the Georgia defense does very well. Now, I will say this, the secondary is susceptible, like we were talking about. And I think a big reason for that is the fact that the pass rush has not been amazing for Georgia. Hasn't been bad, but it definitely hasn't been great. And I'll show you guys right here. Pass rush. You're looking at a 56 against Ole Miss, 63 against Auburn, 64 against Kentucky, 60 against Alabama, 55 against Tennessee. So their pass rush has not been great this season. And, obviously our pass blocking has not been great this season, though. So that might even out a little bit, but we should have some success, especially if we can scheme ways to get DJ just a little bit more time to pick apart the secondary, because that's the reason why the secondary has not been playing great, is these quarterbacks have been able to sit back comfortably, read the field, go through their reads, and find what they want post-snap. So, especially if we got Jaden Ball back there blocking well like he has been doing, and instead of rolling out for a pass, I think we can have some time in the pocket here for DJ Lagway to make some moves, especially if we're doing a 5-wide DJ, or, maybe not 5-wide with, because Jaden Ball won't be in the backfield, but, maybe a trips or something, or having 3 receivers on the field will be just amazing. And give DJ, more, open up the field more and give DJ more space to make the throws and give him more time. I think this Gator offense can start clicking there. So I think that can be a really big key there too. So like I said, in general, EJ, this Gator offensive line versus this Georgia front 7, I think is going to be really, really important. But what I'm doing if I'm the Florida Gator offense is I'm coming out here on the first drive. You can script up whatever the hell you want to script up. But I think first I'm saying, can I run the ball on this Georgia defense, this Bulldog defense? If I can, yay. If I can't, whatever. I now want to see how my pass protection is, right? And like I'm not saying that you don't not want to score on the first drive, because you definitely do. You want to, like, this is a game where you want to start strong early. I'm just saying, I think also too, I'm, as an offensive play caller, I'm going, okay, what does this matchup look like with this Gator line versus this front 7 for Georgia? And I think that's something that O'Hara and Callaway are going to be really, really paying attention to these first couple of drives here. So I'm not really experiencing anything too crazy, in the first couple of quarters. But I'm really curious to see how they adapt at halftime and into the second quarter, and into, especially, like I said, in that second half of the game, on how to keep DJ, give him a clean pocket, maybe roll him out, give him time to read the field, and just really curious on these different formations that they're going to bring forward. And yeah, just excited to see, Jaden Ball. I think you're going to have to obviously keep these linebackers honest. And I think a way to do that, obviously, the best way to do that is to run the football. And so my key to the day is have Jaden Ball over at least 4.9 yards a carry, which I know is a lot. But I think if he can get 4.9 yards a carry, we've seen him get way more than that in some games. I think that the Gators are in a pretty good place to maybe do some play action and bring up those safeties and take some shots deep, especially if we're going to be spreading the ball out like Billy Gonzalez is talking about. You guys got to think, man, our interim head coach is a wide receiver coach. He wants his boys to ball out. And I think that's why you're going to see them throw the ball down the field a little bit here and create some big plays. So what is that going to happen? I don't know. Like, this is like, we'll have way more information going into the Kentucky and Ole Miss game and all that. At the moment, I have zero idea how this is going to happen, what's going to go down. EJ has zero idea how this is going to go down. Gator Nation doesn't know what the hell is going to go on. I think that's what's exciting, though. What I'm saying is there is a big possibility this offense can click. This Georgia defense is susceptible to big plays, and honestly, the Gators can do a good job in time of possession in this game too, which will be really, really important considering this Georgia offense versus Gator defense. there's a chance here the Gators can win this football game. I'm not saying they're going to. There's a more of a chance that they're not going to, but there is life here. There is opportunity, and it's going to come up. It's going to really come down to this play calling on if it's going to happen, and this Gator line versus this. The battle's going to be won in the trenches, which is always the saying that people say, but I think that's even more relevant and more true to the game 6 days from now, this Saturday in Jacksonville. I think the last game in Jacksonville, by the way, for a couple of years, right? I think they're doing the renovations, so we got to go to Atlanta and then go to Tampa.
Yeah, Atlanta then Tampa. Yeah.
Why not do a home and home? I don't know. Whatever. It's fine. I think it'd be cool to do a home and home with Georgia. I don't know. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Just for 2 years.
I just think I think, and I could be wrong, it's probably the sponsorships for this game have a contract that's, maybe like 6 years or something like that. And they're not valid if you do a home and home, because I think our home games have different sponsorship
Regions
contracts
and
regions and all this kind of stuff. And so that's the only thing I can think of as to why they just wouldn't say, okay, home and home, so we'll see.
That makes sense. Rob S. said UGA is not a big pass rushing team. I think we can just go deep. That's what we're saying, man. There's an opportunity there. The question is even though they're not a big pass rush defense, you're playing against Kirby Smart. And so he's going to find ways to attack the quarterback and get pressure on him. Yeah. And it's literally going to be Kirby Smart. And is Glenn Schumann still there? That's his name, right? Glenn Schumann?
Yeah. He's a really good defensive coordinator.
Really good defensive coordinator. Great follow-up to Dan Lanning against Ryan O'Hara, who hasn't called plays since Alabama A&M, where he got fired. So I'm just saying, we'll see what goes on here. We'll see what happens here. All right. EJ, anything else you want to say?
Here's the interesting thing. So we both have had 91 third down attempts. Just a fun fact. Florida has converted 29 of them. Georgia has converted 42 of them.
God.
46% to 32%. So the reason I'm bringing that out is the team that wins this game is going to be the team that wins the game. I almost guarantee you. If Georgia just comes out and just says, screw it, 3rd and 3, power run, smart play, we got it, dump down to, Frazier in the flat, easy conversion, and we're struggling to figure out, what's the play call, coach? 12 men on the field. That's the play call. We are going to get rolled. And who is it? Rob in the comment, he's exactly right. It's not a pass rush from a numbers standpoint. Like a pass rush would be anything more than 4 guys, right? They disguise, so they'll bring 4 guys, but it'll be like a corner and 3 linemen, or like a linebacker.
Pressures,
yeah, different. And so it's kind of like, are we gonna know who that is and pick it up and give Lagway time, or not? Also, is Lagway healthy enough to extend plays in this game with his legs? Cross my fingers, hope to die. Stick a poodle in your eye. But that's sort of the thing. The other thing I think that is really important in this game, guys, red zone attempts and scores. Georgia has been in the red zone 31 times this season. They've scored 24 touchdowns. Florida has been in the red zone only 23 times this time, but we've scored 15 touchdowns. So that's not terrible. But Georgia has gotten into the red zone a lot more than we have. We are 23 out of 22, though, or 22 out of 23. So when we've gotten into the red zone 23 times, we scored 15 touchdowns. We've gotten 7 field goals. There was only one time where we didn't score, and that was a turnover. So, hey, all I'm saying is, if it's a field goal battle and we can get into the red zone and, field position, Georgia is a better punter. 47 yards to our 44 yards a punt. Um, we got a shot.
Yep, I agree. No, one more thing too that I forgot about. I forgot to mention. Another reason why Jaden Ball needs to get 4.9 yards a carry is because this. Sorry, one second. Let me go back to this for you guys. Is because we have had trouble being in third and long situations, and EJ kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. And so I think if we're able to get 4 yards on first down, man, put us in a 2nd and 6. The possibilities are endless. You could do a lot with that. And so we have not been able to do that all year. I don't know where I can find this statistic, but one thing that Georgia's offense has done a very good job at is putting their offense in good positions. They've been in like a lot of third and shorts, and so they've been good there. We have been the literal opposite. I would love to see the average on what our third downs is compared to them, because I know the past couple weeks our averages have been literally like a 3rd and 8, like a 3rd and 9, not counting Mississippi State. And so it's just like, what the hell, man? So it's been a real problem all year for this Florida Gator team. So Georgia is going to do a good job on trying to keep that trend going for the Florida Gators. So all right, EJ. Anything else you want to talk about before we make our score prediction here?
Yeah, I'm trying to look up that exact stat, the third down and distance for both teams.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, long story short, guys, Georgia is a better team, top to bottom, any way you slice it. The one thing I always go off of when I'm predicting games is who's got the better quarterback, who's got the better defense. And if one team has both, that's the team that's going to win. Okay? Now, the interesting thing about this game is Gunnar Stockton, from a PFF and statistical rating, is better than DJ Lagway. And I think everyone who has watched both of these teams play this year will agree to that he's the better quarterback. The question is, how do you make him uncomfortable so that he's not the better quarterback? And how do you make DJ comfortable so that he is the best quarterback in this one game? But coming in, Stockton's the better quarterback. When it comes to defense, I know that we have statistics that are saying that we are currently the 41st best defense in the nation, whereas Georgia is the 25th best defense in the nation. And so technically Georgia has the better defense in the nation. We have played a slightly more difficult schedule, and we've got a lot of injuries. It's the injuries that give me pause in this game. So that's pretty much it. Are we supposed to do our predictions now?
Yeah, no, you're good. I was just writing down. I was trying to find out the stats for the yards to go. So the yards to go for Florida on third downs is 7.8. Which is insane.
7.8.
Yep, 7.8. While the average in the country is 7. Georgia is below that in the 6s. So that right there shows you Georgia is above average, and I guess below. You know what I mean? Below average, whatever you want to call it. And they're much better than us in that sense. So
okay, yeah. So Georgia is 6.5 yards to go on third down. We're 7.8. 7.8 is basically third and long. Like, I guess 6.5 is sort of long too. But we also had we're 1 of 19 on third and anything 10 and higher, which, I mean, I guess most teams are going to be that. So there you go.
All righty. Let's make our predictions, EJ. You go first, man. This is all you.
Well, here's the thing, guys. I'd be very, very surprised if Florida won this game. Okay, very surprised. Shocked, even. I just think it's almost like we have a big lottery bowl with all the little lottery balls. And I feel like there's 2 orange and blue balls, and there's like 100 red and black balls. And it's like, okay, if you pull out the blue or orange ball, the Gators will win this game. So it's like, it's like the probability is like very, very minimal that we're pulling out a blue or orange ball in this game. With that said, what I would love to see is our interim coaching staff coming out and just throwing balls at the wall in this game. Just saying, hey, we understand we're outmatched, but let's go ahead and just throw everything, caution to the wind, throw it up there on the freaking, uh, you know, throw paint on the freaking wall, see if it's art. you know, uh, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Let's see if this is, treasure for us. Um, and let's just go out there and give it everything that we have. And I think if we can do that, I would be happy, even if we were to lose this game. Um, I think this game is going to be very similar to last year's game, actually. I think we're going to give them a good fight early, but because I just don't see. Now, if we come out defensively and they got 8, 9 guys in the box and they're blitzing and they're trying to stop that run, okay, we got a much better chance than I thought. But if we're coming out there with that vanilla bean defense, vanilla, it's just, there's no coffee. It's only vanilla. Okay. We're going to get worked in the fourth quarter. And I'm going to go by the same final score as last year, 34-20. Just because I think we'll score, we'll get 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals. But I think Georgia will, they're going to score. They're going to score 4 touchdowns. They're going to double our touchdowns. And, they're going to run away with it. But I'd like to see us put up a good fight. Now, if we were healthy, I'd be a lot more confident in us putting up a good fight. But you can't have all these true freshmen out there and, hoping that, we're going to stop, all these guys that they got at Georgia. Just not going to happen. But hopefully we can give it all we can.
Yeah, no. I'm with you there. Everything you said, I agree with EJ. I don't think this defense is going to be able to come out there and play aggressive. I think you're going to see Ron Roberts play conservative, especially with all the guys out on the field. And because of that, I think Georgia is going to push the ball way down the field, a lot. I think the Gator offense will find some success. I feel like we've been averaging around 20 points per game. I'm assuming it's something like that, maybe like 22. I think the Gators are going to hit that 20-point mark at 20, but I think Georgia's going to score 35. I just think we're playing vanilla defense. It's not going to be able to stop them. You know what I mean? Like, literally, you cannot beat them while doing that.
No.
And so that's why I have Georgia winning 35-20. But I do think you're going to see a lot of good things from this Gator offense, though. I think you're going to see some nice moments. I think it's going to lead into an interesting last, four games?
Yeah, if we put up a good little fight in this game and show some like a Gator got bite, hey, I think we got a good chance in these last 4 games to do something.
And it turned into a pretty big gauntlet right there the 2 big games back to back with Ole Miss and Tennessee. Those are 2 rough ones, man. I'm going to the Tennessee game. I believe that's going to be fun. The last Tennessee game in the swamp until 2029, which is ridiculous. So that's going to be great, dude. I hate Tennessee. But yeah, no, it's going to be good. So there you guys go. EJ, score you 34-21 or
34-20. We're definitely gonna. Our score is definitely gonna include multiple field goals. Just know that.
Oh yeah,
okay?
Oh yeah. That's funny that I went 35, you went 30. There you go. So we're right there near each other. I'm 35-20. You guys let us know your score predictions down in the comment section down below, man. We appreciate you guys. Go Gators. All right. Let's go. We're going to get away from that game. That's insane. The next section we have to talk about is the kind of the, I guess we can talk a little about the week 9 slate, kind of what happened, but in particular the games that some of the coaches that are kind of up for the Florida Gator job coached.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a few in here, EJ, that we can dive into, man. And any ones that you want to talk about in particular, obviously, EJ, chime in too. But I think the big one, one of the most shocking ones of the week, because we both picked UCLA to cover the 25-point favored Indiana Hoosiers. We were wrong. We took an L there. Indiana wins 56-6 and makes it look insanely easy, man. And it wasn't even the fact that Indiana threw the ball. It's that they ran the ball like crazy out there, putting up almost 300 yards on the ground with 4 touchdowns, man. And Kurt Signetti, I mean, a guy who we both, I know I really, really wanted last year. Obviously, that didn't turn out to be, didn't turn out to be, the decision that we wanted to make, but we definitely should have because, man, Indiana looks so dangerous out there.
I I don't even know what to say. Like, it, it, are we really at a point where Indiana is like a powerhouse football team right now? Is that because that is basically what I just witnessed in this game? I mean, 27 first downs to 12, uh, 262 yards rushing to like what, zero? How many rushing yards did UCLA have in this game? Three forced turnovers to none. This reminded me of when Florida had Urban Meyer and we were like playing Kentucky. It was just like it was just like a big, sumo wrestler trying to take ice cream from like a toddler running around at the gelato mart. It's just like slap and give us the gelato. Absolutely insane. So what this game showed me is that UCLA or Indiana is going to challenge teams with better talent than them because they're much better coached. And teams who do not have collectively better talent than them are going to get hosed. I don't think does Indiana play Ohio State this year?
No, I don't believe so.
I know they played them last year, and the schedule has changed.
No, they're playing. They play Maryland at Maryland, which we're going to be picking later on, which is going to be a pretty interesting game. Or no, sorry, I think that's two. No, that is a Saturday, and then playing at Penn State, Wisconsin, Purdue. Those are all pretty much going to be wins.
Okay, this is ridiculous. Like they don't play Ohio State or Michigan, the only two defenses that can potentially slow them down.
That Iowa win now looks really good after how Iowa's been playing though.
Oh yeah, for sure. And Iowa's a dangerous team. But let me tell you something. Indiana, they're gonna now they are on the road. Now on the road, they haven't been nearly as dominant. So we'll see. But incredible game.
Incredible game by them, man. I love to see Kurt Cignetti go out there and kill him, man. It's so cool to see. Next one we have Boston College. Puts up a decent fight, but just can't get it done, man. Louisville's too much. Louisville wins 38-24. This was my second coach on my list, was Jeff Brom, man. And once again, his offense is going out there and dominating. This time more on the ground, but still a really good game by this Louisville team, man. I just love Jeff Brom. He's just so consistent, man. He has Louisville now at 6-1, 3-1 in the ACC. With a big upset, like they're killing it, man. He knows how to build up a program, and Louisville now in the middle of an ACC run.
Yeah, Brom is definitely on my list as one of the top candidates if Lane Kiffin falls through, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But the one thing about Brom that is going to be interesting is what is the style of play, and that is the thing that I think Gator fans, that's the one reason they want Lane Kiffin more than anything, is that you understand what the style of play is going to be. It's going to be a wide open offense that is just going to put pressure on any defense that you play. Mm-hmm. In the passing game and in the formations with the quarterback, with everything. Louisville is more of a pro style offense under Brom that's still very effective, still very, very good, but it requires you to just be better from a man-on-man talent standpoint, and maybe that's something Brom will be able to build, but that's the only question, is like, what's the style of play that we're going to have with Brom?
Especially in the SEC.
Especially in the SEC, like you have to have a definitive style. You look at Alabama, they don't really have a definitive style, but they just have more talent than everyone else. And that's what DeBoer does. Same with Georgia. Even though Georgia is a lot more balanced, LSU, no identity right now. No definitive style. Vanderbilt, Pavia is our definitive style, right? And we're well coached on the line of scrimmage and fundamentals. Missouri, No definitive style, just well coached. You know, um, I guess they may have a definitive. They do spread you and give you very difficult one-on-one matchups, but all that said, I like Brom. Let's see what happens. Oh, mute time.
My bad. Yeah, no, that was a very very good win for Louisville there. Boston College is not a good team, but still, just those little trap games can get you. Next one we have SMU takes an L to Wake Forest. Man, Wake Forest is a good team. Robbie Ashford leading them there. They can be tricky when Robbie's playing turnover free. But yeah, man, Rhett Lashley, a guy that we both mentioned that we both liked, loses this game. Now they have a big game this week, and so I think they host Miami, and so were they just looking ahead? I believe so. But you can't do that against a really solid, at the time 4-2 Wake Forest team. I think they were coming off of a bye, if I'm not mistaken. Like overall, just a dumb decision to make, but a rough looking game. Turnovers just not pretty for Rhett Lashley.
Yeah, the interesting thing about this game is that Wake Forest had 5 turnovers and SMU only had 3. And SMU still lost. And so you have a game where you should be at a point, Lashley, where SMU's offense is almost on autopilot. There's just some teams that are on autopilot with their offense, meaning they're going to gain a certain amount of yards and efficiency, gain a level of efficiency regardless of the week they're in. I do think they were looking ahead to Miami. But 246 yards total offense, and Jennings barely 50% completion percentage against a Wake Forest team. That, don't get me wrong, Wake Forest is they're not terrible. But if you're an SMU team that was in the playoff last year, 1 loss, 11-1, you've got a hot coach in Lashley that I'm like, oh yeah, let's get Lashley. Not if you're throwing picks and fumbling the ball and can only gain 250 yards against Wake Forest. Not looking good.
Yeah, sorry, Robbie Ashford barely even played in this game. I didn't watch this one, so that was my bad. But Robbie Ashford didn't even play. It was the backup to Sean Purdy that came in, and threw 2 interceptions. So maybe it's just
same. Isn't that the same quarterback that we were supposed to have?
Deshaun Purdy?
Yeah, I think he transferred to us, and then
really
he transferred out again. Don't you remember that?
No, there's the one NIL guy issue that we had. Is that you're talking about? The guy that went to Georgia?
No, I think Deshaun Purdy. Let me see. He transferred to us. I want to say it was him.
Maybe he's young though. He's a sophomore.
Yes. Okay. Here we go. December last year, he Purdue quarterback initially transferred to play for Florida.
Oh.
Yeah. He transferred from Charlotte. And then something happened. I don't know. We said we're gonna, he found out that you transferred to the team that has DJ Lagway. And he was like, oh crap, I didn't know they had DJ Lagway. So now he transferred to Wake Forest. So I knew it was him. So he was a decent quarterback. So good for him.
That is funny, dude. That is great. Well, yeah, good for him, man. Getting out there playing. Next one we have Kenny Dillingham and Arizona State take the L to Houston, man. Our old defensive coordinator out there, man, playing well with the Houston Cougars, man. Houston wins 24-16. Arizona State, man, coming off of a big win against Texas Tech and comes in here and loses to Houston. I know you said earlier that one website was like, Kenny Dillingham's on the hot seat or whatever. That's ridiculous. You said it was ridiculous. It is insane. If you look at the Arizona State schedule, yeah, they have 3 losses. Their only bad loss though is to, I believe, Mississippi State early on in the year. Yep. The other 2, I mean, you get a big win over against a good TCU team. You lose to Utah, who I think is a very, very good team. and you lose to Houston. You beat a good Texas. Like, Arizona State's a good little team, man, when everything's clicking and whenever Levitt's playing well. So, yeah, I think that's kind of crazy. But I think this is more of Houston being a really, really good team than Arizona State being not great. Houston's 7-1, man. They've had a really good year so far, and this is a really good defense that they're trying to face here.
This freaking Big 12 is just the freaking biggest hodgepodge you've ever seen, right? Like, you're gonna have one-hit wonders every year. You're gonna have who can, uh, you know, yeah. Utah's the most consistent team in this right now in the Big 12, but Arizona State, at the end of the day, um, you still should have won this game. Houston actually dominated this. I mean, I think I turned on, it was like 21-0 or something like that in the fourth quarter. And so then, like, you turn around and Arizona State started to mount a valiant comeback in the fourth quarter where they scored, um, I think, 2 touchdowns and 2 2-point conversions, and then, like, almost came back and won. But, uh, just not a good look for Arizona State. I do think, though, that after their Texas Tech game, which beating Texas Tech the way they did was very emotional for them. And so it's not a good look that Lashley and Dillingham, two coaches that we want, you have a big game, then you're either overlooking an opponent, or you're coming off an emotional win and you're just not prepared for the next game. Guess what? In the SEC, look at our schedule. Okay? It's elite, 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 elite every week. So you can't have that.
100%. 100%. All right, next one we have Missouri at Vanderbilt. Missouri loses 10-17. They get down at like the half-yard line, EJ. It was an insane attempt at a comeback, man. Just could not get it done. Pavia played okay in this game. I watched some of the highlights and some of the clips from it. Nothing special. The backup Zollers came in after Bo went out with an injury. Zollers comes in, plays a decent game, man. Has a few big plays there late and a few huge passes on third downs to get super close, like I said, to the half-yard line to tie it up late. Can't get it done. A guy that is up for the running for a lot of people for the Florida job, Eli Drinkwitz, takes an L, now goes down to 6-2 with one of the easiest schedules in the SEC. It sucks. I think Bo Pribula is just way too one-dimensional. And when we picked this game last week, EJ, that's what I said. I was like, I just don't like him much as a quarterback. I think he's not a great passer. He makes great passes, but then just makes some questionable throws too, and more consistently. And so I think that's what's hurting this Missouri offense, considering they have one of the best running backs in the country in Ahmad Hardy.
So let's talk about Drunkatwits. So here's the deal, guys. Here's the bottom line. They're now 2-2 in the SEC with a relatively easy schedule. Billy Napier is fired for being 2-2 in the SEC. Okay. Now, here's the question. Are you firing a coach that's 2-2 in the SEC and hiring another one who's 2-2 in the SEC, thinking that this 2-2 coach in the SEC is much better than the 2-2 that you just fired? I mean, so we're splitting hairs with these coaches, which is why Lane Kiffin, all roads lead to Lane Kiffin. People are like, Drunkatwits, yeah, let's hire Drunkatwits. I mean, he's landed some pretty decent recruits with the wide receivers, and he got who's the Florida Gator linebacker that they stole a couple years ago?
Oh, Tyron Hopper.
Hopper, right? They stole Hopper, and then I saw Scooby Williams going out there at Texas A&M tackling everyone in sight. It's funny how, so you steal the Florida Gator recruits that Billy Napier brought in, and they're your best players. So it's like, so that's kind of like the other thing. Is like, okay, so Napier was bringing it. I say that to say, um, this was an evenly matched game, and 149 all-purpose yards for Pavia. It was a defensive battle. If Vanderbilt's defense is that good to where you can't score against them, um, and you're Drinkowitz and you're supposed to be, this up and coming coach and all this, it's also funny how Drinkowitz doesn't have to go and talk to his players about being mentioned for these other jobs, right? Like, no one's mentioning that. And so I don't know. I just think this was an interest, it was a 50-50 game to begin with. You play it at Vanderbilt. The Vanderbilt fans are going crazy. The Hail Mary at the end of that game was insane. Um, like how the heck do you catch it at the goal line and don't even get in? But anyway, um, it just goes back to I'm not sold on Drinkowitz. I know a lot of people are, but there you go.
Alrighty. All right. Last one here. Washington gets a big win at home against Illinois. 42-25. Washington now is 6-2 on the year, 3-2 in the Big Ten. Jeff Fish, big win there. A guy that I really, really like. I just feel like I need to see a little bit more from him before we drop the bag on him at the University of Florida. He's not the home run hire that Lane Kiffin is and some of these other guys. But man, dude, I really, really like him as a head coach. I love watching his offenses. I mean, look at some of these stats. Desmond Williams, I think he's a true sophomore. Came in late last year, and I was like, this guy's gonna be good this year. And man, has he? 26 of 33, 280 yards, 4 touchdowns passing, and on the ground 66 yards. With a long of 25, just a monster back there. The defense played well for this Washington team as well. Man, what a fun offense to watch. I like Jed Fish a lot. I wouldn't be mad if we picked him up, but he's definitely not, as we know, not one of my top options. But this is a big, big win for him and this Huskies football team.
Jed Fishy. He's very fishy as a candidate to be. Logan's like, yeah, Jed Fish. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, I like Jed. I mean, this is alma mater. Okay, so
Coach under Spurrier.
Coach under Spurrier. He was a graduate assistant when Spurrier was here. But here's the deal. What was Billy Napier's record at Florida? It was 22-23, right? What is Jed Fish's overall head coaching record? 29-31. So here's the deal. You're, like I said with Drinkowitz, you're gonna get rid of 2-2 Billy Napier, who's had played a tougher schedule, for 2-2 Drinkowitz, who's played an easy. They played no one in the non-conference. Look at their Central Arkansas, whatever, that 4 straight times. We at least had some tough non-conference games. USF is probably, they lost to Memphis, which that game was rigged, by the way. So we at least played one of the top group of 5 teams. So that's the only thing. I'm kind of like 29-31 overall coaching record. I just don't see him being as good as, let's say, a Hugh Freeze at Auburn. But I don't know. He's got a great coach. I mean, he's got a very diversified coaching background. We'll see what happens.
Well,
but
also too, there was one year in Arizona's first year there. They went 1-11 his first year, kind of taking over a program that wasn't great. And so I think that kind of throws around that a little bit. But still, though, he went 6-7 last year at Washington. And he did make a bowl game with his boys though. So I guess went 6-6 in the regular season. But once again, I don't know. I like him. He wasn't given much at Washington. You know what I mean? Everything was so gone when Kalen DeBoer left. He had to rebuild it pretty much from the ground up. Same thing with Arizona. And he looks like he's doing that now with 2 programs. I don't know. That's why I like him, but I totally see your point as well. So we'll see.
Yeah,
But
Signetti, baby. Give us Signetti spaghetti.
I respect it. And then just something else we want to talk about too. And then I'll ask one question before we get into the Week 10 slate. Some of this coaching carousel this offseason is going to be unbelievable. The coaches that have already been fired: UCLA, Virginia Tech, Oklahoma State, Arkansas, Florida, Penn State, Oregon State. And then the guys that are probably going to be fired: LSU, maybe Brian Kelly, you know what I mean, not doing great, could finish the year 7-5. You're looking at Texas, Sarkisian maybe going to the NFL. A lot of rumors going on there. FSU, is FSU actually going to do the buyout for Norvell? We'll see. They want him gone. UNC, Bill Belichick's not going to survive another year. Auburn, Hugh Freeze on the hot seat. And then Wisconsin with Luke Fickell. So those are at least 7 huge programs that might have to go out. There's already 4 huge programs that are gonna have to hire right now anyway. So this coaching carousel is already gonna be the most hectic we've ever seen. If LSU and Texas and FSU and UNC and Auburn and Wisconsin, even 2 or 3 of those 5 or 6 that I just said, if only 2 or 3 of those even go out, then it's going to be it's going to be mayhem in this offseason. And we need to strap in. That's not good for us, considering we're one of the teams trying to find a head coach. So, yeah, going to be super interesting there, EJ. We're going to see, of course, James Franklin is going to get hired somewhere. You're probably going to see Eli Drinkwitz get hired somewhere. You're going to see a lot of movement going on, and it's going to be crazy, man. I cannot wait to see what goes on there. So my question to you, EJ, is, considering all these results from this past weekend, has your opinion changed on any coach in particular, good or bad?
Well, I do want to address kind of like what you just said about the coaching. It's crazy what's going on right now in the coaching world, right? And you lose a couple of games, and all your fans go to the message board and, we want to fire Brian Kelly. He's not winning enough games. He just had a Heisman. Didn't he just have the Heisman quarterback like last year or 2 years ago?
2 years ago, yeah.
So here's the thing. You're paying $20, $50, $60 million to a fired coach while also raising tuition on students. The athletic department budget is 30 times greater than some of these your best school. So if you're like a business school or engineering school, 30 times greater. And some of these coaches are making literally 20 times more money, if you include their buyout, than the university president. So from an economic standpoint, this is not sustainable. It's becoming like, and then people say, well, they're making more money, it's bringing in the money. No, it's not. Ole Miss, look at Ole Miss. Their fans are convinced that Lane Kiffin is staying at the best job in America at Ole Miss. Well, if it's the best job in America, why is it even a debate that he's coming to Florida? It wouldn't even be a debate. It's almost like, is Ryan Day coming to Florida? No, because Ohio State right now is a better job. Is Sarkisian coming to Florida? No. But Ole Miss, you're running negative margins because you're paying more than you're making. It's just not a sustainable model. So I think long-term, what I would think is going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to have some sort of NCAA regulation where coaches' salaries, they're getting up there. So it's probably $15 to $20 million. Like, you can't make more than that, which is insane. $20 million. I remember when I just started getting college football back in, I was, in my teens. And I looked up Steve Spurrier's salary, and it was like $3.5 million. And I was like, wow, that is a lot of money. $3.5 million. $15 million salary is going to end up being like the norm. 2 to 3, I think they should cap these buyouts at 2 to 3 years. And that's where it's going to have to go. all of the universities in these major conferences are going to sign a pact to say, hey, you guys can get rid of all of these coaches, but we all have to have the same years in our buyout caps, kind of like how they do in the NCAA or the major leagues. So if you're spending more than what the cap is, then every dollar that you're spending more than the cap, you're going to have to pay the conference and it goes into this pool of money, and that money goes to the other teams that are not paying more than the cap for them to build up their infrastructure and to compete more, right? Because when you are in a situation where teams can just pay more than other teams, it becomes a little bit, it's just economically not viable to even have these leagues where one team can afford $100 million buyout and another team can barely afford a $2 million salary. It's like these teams should be in completely different leagues, even within the SEC. And that's, people are like, well, Ole Miss is a better job than Florida. Okay, if it was a better job than Florida, then why are they struggling they should have did the Signetti deal. If it's a better job, they could have came out, okay, $100 million 10-year contract, Lane Kiffin. There you go. $100 million buyout, guaranteed money. Did they do that? Absolutely not. You know why? Because they don't have as much money. That's bottom line. And they're crossing their fingers, hoping that, well, he likes it here. He's got a family, Oxford, Mississippi. Have y'all been to Oxford, Mississippi? I haven't, but I can tell you right now, when you look at what are the 10 things that make living somewhere better, the state of Florida is like significantly better than Mississippi. Okay, education, the university is better. It's significantly. Now, Ole Miss does have a good law school. I give them that. They have
We're Ivy League though.
We're public Ivy. They just came out with the top rankings. University of Florida is the number one school. I think it was like modern. I don't even remember what it was, but we're number one. Then you look at the state of Florida, significantly more better at every aspect. There's more people that visit Orlando in 1 year that visit the state of Mississippi in like 5 years, the entire state. More people visit the city of Orlando than the entire state of Mississippi in like 5 years. That's all you need to know. Is that where's Orlando? It's like 2 hours from Gainesville. So this whole narrative and by the way, I think they're starting to get rid of their state income tax in Mississippi. I think I read something where they're trying to get rid of it. I don't know how you're going to make money as a state if you're getting rid of your state income tax, because you have no industries except for Biloxi, which is where you go to gamble. So, and maybe you catch some fish in they got a little beach down there. So how the hell are you going to make money as a state? So it's not even close. So I say all that to say, if Lane Kiffin decides that he's going to stay at Ole Miss and not come to Florida, I think what he's saying is, I'm a different person, right? And I think at the end of the day, what he needs to secure from Ole Miss is a long-term contract, to where if he just decides, okay, I'm just going to take the next couple years off, I'm not really going to give it my all, and they decide to fire him, which, as you can see, you can go from James Franklin, you're making the playoffs, you're an elite coach, you're so good, to one portal class doesn't hit and you suck, and now your fans want you fired. It could literally be 3 months departed from that. Okay? I always am a proponent you've got to go when your stock is high. Period. It's just like if you're playing in college basketball and your stock is high, you have to go because there's more likely your stock will decrease than it will increase. And to me, Lane Kiffin's stock will never be higher than it is this year, especially with the number of jobs that are open. Like, are you kidding me? LSU, FSU, Florida, now Texas might even be. They're trying to, what's a face is saying that he might go to the NFL, Sarkisian. So, to me, if Lane Kiffin wants to stay at Ole Miss, which he's already been there for 6 years, he's saying that I don't want to take any more risks with my life. I just want to live in Oxford, Mississippi for the rest of my life. And here's one more thing before I stop this Lane Kiffin rant, and then I'll go back to what you were saying. He had to go out and make a statement to his players. That was the Molly McGrath story. We're like, Molly, what is he saying? Well, he's going to address the team and tell the team, about all the rumors that he's the hottest coach in the country. And he's going to tell them that, this is what happens when you're so good. Okay, but here's the thing that I want to ask people. Okay, this is very interesting. It's very interesting. Why the hell don't the players have to come out and make statements to the fans and their coaches on whether or not they are going to be back next year? Because Lane Kiffin's not loyal. None of these players are either. 40% of your team wasn't even on your team last year, which is why he said he had to come and make the statement, because he's like, well, all these players are new. They don't really know me that well. And they're not used to being on a team with a coach being rumored to be a candidate for another job. So I have to address it. Okay, well, how many of them are going to be there next year, whether or not you're back or not? That's the world we live in. None of them have buyouts. None of them have contracts that say, if I transfer across the street to Mississippi State the second you leave, well, 5 days after you leave now, or 5 days after we get a new coach, that Mississippi State has to pay Ole Miss any money. Because Lane Kiffin had to bust his ass in the transfer portal to get all these people in. How many millions of dollars and hours he had to spend on all those people, only for them to turn around and want to go somewhere else the next year. Because maybe he said, you're not going to play because you can't catch or whatever, he does when he's got to make tough decisions as a coach. So long story short is Lane Kiffin's got to look out for himself. If he feels that staying at Ole Miss, which he's already been there for 6 years, that's a hell of a long time if you ask me. That's how long Urban Meyer was here. If he's going to stay at Ole Miss, what he's saying is, I don't want to take any more risks. I want to stay at Ole Miss. And hell, he might be waiting for a better job. Maybe there are better jobs in Florida. But I think that he knows that Florida is a sleeping giant of a program. It has it's strategically positioned to get the talent. Why is Georgia such a good job? Well, because it's a monopoly in the state. The state of Georgia is actually they have lots of great talent. It's probably the third fourth. Florida, Texas, California, and then Georgia is probably the fourth most talented state in terms of high school players. They have a monopoly. They can pick and choose whoever they want. And Georgia's an elite, brand. So yeah, you're going to win there if you have a good coach. Florida is the same way. Now we do have to compete with Florida State, Miami, and all this kind of stuff. But you have Lane Kiffin, you can do that. And you've been proven to win national championships as a program. The fan base expect national championships. At Ole Miss, you expect what's your expectation?
Chick-fil-A
win
Bowl.
10 games. And then like now we won 10 games. We're so great. No, Ole Miss, you're not better. You know why? Our two most recently fired coaches both beat you. Okay? Dan Mullen beat you, and we fired him the next year. Billy Napier beat you last year, and we fired him this year. And that is your program at your peak. And that's our program at our rock bottom. So it's not even close. So here's the thing. That's all I got to say about that. Now, with all that said, I do think it's a 50-50 chance that we get Lane Kiffin. He's an ultimate wild card. He's going to work both sides of the fence. He's going to say, well, I don't know if I should come back to Ole Miss. Florida's a good job. It's a great job. I really like to stay, my kids like Oxford. Maybe they want to stay here for a long time. They don't like Oxford. So maybe Oxford in England. Maybe that's where they want to go.
They started his son at quarterback on the local high school team just to try to keep him. It's so funny.
Yeah. That's some Sweet Magnolias shit right
Yeah.
there. That is some Sweet Magnolia shit right there.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's all I got to say about that. I hope that Lane Kiffin makes his decision. But I honestly do not think any of us will know until if this gets into after the Florida Ole Miss game, which that's going to heat up a lot of, that's going to be a crazy situation. That's in a couple weeks, guys.
We're going to Oxford for that. Yeah.
That is going to be wild. If it gets into like December and, Lane Kiffin has not come out and made a definitive statement, like, I am not going to Florida. I can care less about their offers. I am staying at Ole Miss. He has not said that. Now, they're saying he's not saying that because he may potentially want to get more money from Ole Miss. Okay, well, Ole Miss, if that's the case, where's the contract extension? Where's the contract extension, Ole Miss? Huh? It's been a month. Hell, it's been 2 years. Hasn't he been the top candidate for us the last 2 years? So all I'm saying is y'all are a big ass lie because you're not giving him the extension, and maybe they will give him the extension. Who knows? But you haven't yet. So there you go. Sorry for the rant.
No, dude, you're good. That was gold right there, man. Kenny said your Molly voice is hilarious. Rob said they said don't forget no state tax in Florida. And that's true.
No state income. That's what we were talking about. No state income tax in Florida.
Yep. Joshua said, how do you feel about Kalani Sakati, or I'm going to screw his name up. I'm not even try it. At BYU. Sataki. There you go. Yeah, he's the BYU head coach. I like what he's doing there. I think it'd be a solid hire. Yeah, no, I think he's doing great stuff there. I think that's a culture issue at Florida. I think he fits with Brigham Young very, very well. I just don't know if he would be the greatest hire for Florida. Also, doesn't have any other head coaching experience outside of that. So I wouldn't be on board for that hire personally.
So Sataki, yeah, he's a West Coast guy. I think he's got to be from. I don't know where he's from, but
he's Hawaiian for sure. He might be from Hawaii.
Yeah, he might be from exactly. So he has a great head coaching record. I just have to think off the top of my head, but the reality is, if you were to get him into Florida, like that would be hilarious. Actually, I think it'd be materially better than Napier. But hey, why not?
Yeah, I mean, he has an eye for talent. You know what I mean? I love it. And gives his quarterback whatever number he wants to wear. Kiffin is a Spurrier fan. Yeah, no, for sure. There's a lot of great things, man. Kiffin's son did come out and said, I think, that he didn't want to go to Gainesville, which I think is pretty funny, but that doesn't matter, dude. No one cares what you think, dude. It's your dad's decision. I think that's pretty funny. I wouldn't want to go to Gainesville, too, if I just had 2 comeback victories at quarterback, for the local high school. Yeah, I wouldn't want to. The high school's probably paying the other teams to start, choking there late in the fourth quarter to make them happy and make them stay there. That's probably what's going on. So yeah, they're trying everything.
That is the funniest. That is so funny.
Yeah. So we'll see. But no, I agree with everything you said about Kiffin, man. Will he leave though? I still, obviously it's literally probably 50-50. You brought up a great point though, going to Oxford, which is honestly a game that I circled this year that I wanted to travel to. It just didn't work out because I want to start going to at least one away game a season. I think that'd be really, really cool. Go to different, and obviously with the new SEC schedule, we're going to have more opportunities to go to different places. So I'm really excited about that, EJ. We definitely need to start probably planning that in the future and just picking one away game a year and just going to it. So I was going to go to the Oxford one this season because I want to go to the Grove, and I want to see how empty the student section is, but that just didn't really work out. So I'll just watch it on TV, I guess. But yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. Martin said Florida had already offered Kiffin 13.56 years. I did see that too.
Have you heard that? What do you think about that?
Okay, so a couple things. Number one, I don't know if those things are weird, right? The actual salaries that get out, like, you're not going to fully get the true salary. I don't think. I just think it's weird that got leaked. So I don't really know, Kenny, if how true and how much validity that does actually have. But if that's the case, I think that's great. I mean, he'll be what? He's got to be one of the highest paid coaches at that point, right? What is highest paid coaches? What is Kirby getting? I mean, Kirby and Dan Lanning with that Phil Knight money. I don't know.
Oh, I think he'd be top 3.
Top 3? Yeah, Kirby Smart's making 13.2, which is insane. And I feel like Dan Lanning has got to be the other one, right? Dan Lanning, he's only making 11.
Or Ryan Day. Probably.
Yep,
but
you're right.
Kirby Smart is probably the highest paid coach. He's probably got a clause that says, no matter what happens, you must be the highest paid coach. And I'm like, what would happen if everyone had that clause? Like if everyone had the clause that said, you must be the highest paid coach in college football, then it's kind of like, okay, he's the highest paid. Okay, now you're the highest paid. So it just keeps going up.
Yeah, that's insane. That's crazy. Ryan Day has like 12.6. And so Kiffin would be making more than them. So yeah, that's insane, man. I mean, look, I think you got to get him, right? Because after that, I think it's a toss up, right? We know what Kiffin's going to be able to do. He's a guy that's going to give you at least 9 wins a season on a rebuild year, but you don't even need rebuild years anymore in college football. And so really you could just keep in, and he hits the transfer portal. So you're going to find success right away, 10, 11 win seasons every year. So I think that 13.5 keep him in. Sadly, that buyout's going to be probably insane and ridiculous. But yeah, no, I don't mind that salary at all. What about you, BJ? I mean, we got the money for it, bro. Bring him in.
Well, the thing is, I think the offer is going to be a quote unquote strong ass offer. Okay. And I think when you're looking at Lane Kiffin's situation, it's not really about the money. It's about, the money, a couple $1 million. But here's the thing. $4 million more at Florida or $2 million more at Florida is a lot more than in Mississippi because you don't have the state income tax. Now, you do have cost of living, which is definitely higher in Florida than it is in Mississippi. But Gainesville and Oxford might be relatively the same. Who knows? But who's to say Lane Kiffin won't have a private jet? And they just put that in the contract like they did with Lincoln Riley, who apparently hates it in LA. Hey, we'll give you a private jet to fly to Boca Raton every weekend or wherever you want to, So I think it's a good offer. I think Lane Kiffin will make decisions based off of what he wants his legacy to be. His legacy right now is you're a popular coach. You've turned Ole Miss around, but that's it. That's your legacy. The win against Oklahoma last year, we give Napier a bunch of shit for going like 0-12 on the road against ranked teams. Yesterday, the win against Oklahoma was Lane Kiffin's first win against a ranked team on the road at Ole Miss in 6 attempts. Yeah. So, so maybe Ole Miss fans think that's it's a sign. He can win it all at Ole Miss. I looking at Ole Miss, will they have a chance to win it all this year? I just don't think so. I mean, first of all, your best player on the defensive line, at least in the Oklahoma game, Uman Mielen, where was he the first 2 years of it? Florida. So you're talking about you got your good players from Florida. Why you can just get them at Florida when you go there. Now, the other thing I love about Lane Kiffin is that no matter who he puts back there at quarterback, that guy is going to ball.
Yep.
Okay, the quarterback play is going to be elite. I just don't think Ole Miss right now is uh, top to bottom capable of beating um, some of these top teams in the SEC right now. I don't think. Do they play Alabama this year?
Oh yeah, they should. Let me look at the rest of their schedule real quick.
Um, they're better than LSU. They're better than Auburn and Arkansas. Are they better than Georgia? No, they got beat by them. Are they better than Tennessee? I don't think they play them. Are they better than they'll be
Oh, this
they'll see
soft ass schedule is insane. On this latter half here, they I think they play this weekend. No, because November 1st is wow, that's crazy. November is a Saturday. Oh my god. So yeah, they play South Carolina, Sedell, Florida, and at Mississippi State.
Okay, so if they don't win out, he's gone. He's gone. That's why we need to go to Oxford and we need to freaking throw the freaking toilet in the wherever we need to throw it to win that game,
They've
or at
had
least
an
make it
easy
close.
ass schedule, bro.
Yeah, they have had an easy because they haven't played Alabama. They didn't play
No,
Alabama.
they
They
got
didn't play Tennessee.
Georgia State, at Kentucky, Arkansas, Tulane, LSU, Washington State. That's like 5 home games in a row. At Georgia, which was a tough, that was a good game by them. At Oklahoma, which was a pretty solid win. But then you play South Carolina, Sedell, Florida, Mississippi State. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, so no Alabama this year, no Texas A&M this year, no Tennessee this year. Okay, and you still don't make the SEC championship game because I think it's Alabama and Texas A&M, right?
Texas A&M and Alabama are both undefeated in the SEC.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, Ole Miss is not because they lost against Georgia, and then Georgia's not because they lost against Bama, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So Ole Miss, you're not going to go unless Alabama loses. You're not going to jump ahead of Georgia would have to lose twice. I hate these standings, by the way. Just go back to the, East and West so that we can, But anyway, wait, what were we saying? What was the original question?
We were just looking at Ole Miss. Shit, I don't know. That's a good question.
I know we were just talking
we
shit.
were talking about the schedule and
the offer. So
okay.
Because Kenny was like, Bud Martin said that they already offered 13.5. Joshua said Strickland is gonna upset all of us in the end. Just watch him end up hiring a coach from the Sun Belt again. Oh, that's our biggest fear. I do think that at the end of the day, if we don't get Lane Kiffin, to be honest with you, I do think it's a bust because I think Lane Kiffin is by far the ideal candidate for Florida. I just think that when you look at the requirements of Florida fans versus the available pool of candidates, there's a lot of cognitive dissonance. There's a lot of conflating information. Like we say, well, we want a proven winner. And, so we don't want James Franklin because he didn't win enough games. Well, technically, he's been a head coach for 15 years and Kiffin for 13, and Franklin has won more games. The only team that he hasn't beaten, look it up. Urban Meyer, Jim Harbaugh, and Ryan Day. He's like 1 in 12 versus those coaches. And here's the thing. What is Billy Napier versus our rivals? 3 and 10. So it's kind of like you don't want a guy that can't beat your rivals, but I get it. But at the end of the day, Lane Kiffin just won his first ranked road game. So it's kind of like, what do you want? I would be, if it were me and you don't get Lane Kiffin and you don't have that amazing ceiling that we all know Lane Kiffin has, you've got to go with a coach that gives you a minimum floor and hope that you can complement him with staff members that can get you that ceiling. Kind of like, so let's say you settle with James Franklin. Okay, well then you have to bring in like a Joe Brady level offensive coordinator and whoever the hell the defensive coordinator is at Penn State. You have to, you know, get the talent to where you're going to go out there and win games against USF without even blinking an eye. Okay. Uh, and you're going to challenge the best teams because you've got a great philosophy and attack. I think I'd be more inclined to something like that versus rolling the dice with a guy that might be marginally better than, let's say, Billy Napier. You know what I mean? Um, so that's my thought on that.
Yeah, no, I get that. I totally get that. Rob said he misses the East and West as well. It's the offense with Kiffin that has the UF fans memorized. Exactly. No, that's literally what it is, man. It's the fact that, like EJ was saying, the quarterbacks always ball out. They always have a great offense. They spread the ball. It's literally stemmed from the Steve Spurrier tree. It's air raid, man. Just give us air raid, which is why Jeff Brum is my other coach, because he's another guy. Also, what's great about Lane Kiffin is he doesn't take the foot off the gas at all. You know what I mean? He's nonstop. He's gonna run that score on you, bro, no matter what. Even if he's up by 30 points, he's gonna keep it going, and I love that. He does not care. He talks shit. It's all those things together that make him a very intriguing head coach, and those are all I think all things that we want, all characteristics that we want out of a head coach here at the University of Florida. And so I think it's a big win for them on the road there at Oklahoma. And I think with even more resources and a way bigger NIL system here at the University of Florida, I think that he can definitely make a lot of big things happen and build a dynasty here.
Well, I actually believe the Buddy Martin report, because that they have offered behind the scenes, whether it's 13.5, who knows. The thing is, yes, you can offer that when the buyout, because what do you have to do when you get a coach? Number one, you have to fire your coach and pay that. Then you have to pay whatever the buyout of the coach that you want to hire is. And why has Florida never traditionally gone after one of these top coaches? Because they didn't want to do the big buyout, right? So that's why you bring in Billy Napier, he's basically free, buy one, get one free. You bring in Zook, buy one, get one free. You bring in McElwain, buy one, get one free. You bring in Mullen, who I don't even know if they even had a buyout at Mississippi State. Lane Kiffin's buyout is like $3.5 million or something like that right now at Ole Miss. So you get a deal there. Then you can put up a lot of money for his contract. So we'll see what happens. I think that at the end of the day, he's 50 years old, which I was kind of surprised. I'm like, he's a young 50. These are the prime years for his coaching career. So if he's going to make a decision, it's going to be made this year. And we'll see what happens. But I will say this. I don't think Ole Miss has the horses to actually win the national championship this year. I actually thought they did last year until we beat them, which is kind of crazy.
Kentucky upset them. We beat them. It was a rough couple weeks there for Ole Miss.
Yeah, that was a rough couple of weeks. And I don't know, man. I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Joshua said if we do hire Lane, hopefully he retains Billy G and Ron Roberts. I don't agree with Ron Roberts. I think he's very overrated. I think the fans have really been hyping him up. I get he's doing, he plays that kind of bend don't break defense, but that's not a championship defense. But yeah, Billy G, I agree, and I think Jaluke, you know what I mean? I think Jaluke's probably going to go out and be some great offensive coordinator. I'm sure he wants to move up and do different things, maybe go to the NFL, but if we can retain him as the running backs coach too, I think that'd be that'd be massive. But Lane's probably going to come in and do a clean sweep. He's probably going to bring all over Charlie Wise, all his people. I guarantee it. But yeah, I don't really want Ron. If you had to keep some guys, EJ, who would it be?
Well, you and me, we're a little bit different on Ron Roberts. I remember Brandon. You and Brandon loved Austin
I
Armstrong.
love Austin Armstrong.
Hey! Look what he's doing at Houston. Like, all out blitz every play.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Come on.
Engage 8 every play. That's the play call for Austin Armstrong. But Rod Roberts. Here's the thing I like about Rod Roberts. If Roberts had elite NFL talent, which I think he could benefit from with a coach with a little bit more of a halo effect, like a Lane Kiffin or maybe James Franklin, to be honest with you. And he had a Caleb Banks and maybe one other guy on that defensive line in addition to Tyreek Sapp. Ron Roberts' defense becomes championship level when the 4 guys on the defensive line can basically dominate a game, can be like what you've got at Texas A&M or Miami right now. When it's not like that, it doesn't look championship level. I think Roberts is a good coach in that, despite the offense being one of the worst, I'm shocked that we're top 100. We're 91st apparently in total offense. To not have a top 100 offense and to still be 2-2 in the SEC, I think that's a testament to just having a defense that can stop people. I mean, look at the Mississippi State game. I mean, they racked up 38 points in 3 quarters against Texas, and we had to hold them down, and not because we were elite on defense. We could have been a lot better if the offense just kept scoring against Mississippi State, and then the defense is able to blitz more and they know you're going to pass. And so now we can attack you. So I don't know. I would keep Ron Roberts if, all else fails. I think there are better defensive coordinators out there, like the guy at Penn State, Beyonce Knowles. If we've got him, or even the guy that used to be here, but I think he's at Maryland now.
Durkin.
DJ Durkin Birkin. Yeah, Birkenbag Durkin.
Mm-hmm.
If we got him, that'd be good. Hell, bring in Will Muschamp. He's like, I'm retired. I don't want to play anymore. Okay, whatever. You're the DC now.
I just feel like you can. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go. You go.
No, I don't know. I just feel like that's not. It's not a championship defense in the sense of there's no adaptation. There's no adaptability. It's too high no matter what, and that's my problem. And so. It's funny you mentioned the talent thing, and I feel like that's what's made his defenses here great, is the talent. I think whenever we have all these guys healthy, I feel like that's when our defense have been playing really, really well. I also feel like we've just been getting lucky a lot. Like, Arch Manning had so many open guys wide open downfield. Even Blake Shape in Mississippi State was missing wide open guys, just not stepping into the throw. I don't know. I just feel like Ron Roberts is a good DC. I'm not talking, saying he's bad or anything. I just think if we have the championship mentality, if we're going to sit there and drop $13.5 million a year on a head coach that's also going to be helping out calling plays on offense, then I want to see you might as well go all in and get a great championship DC as well, in my opinion. But that's my kind of reasoning for that.
Well, that's the Ohio State strategy. That's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
And they got Chip Kelly, and then who's the defensive coordinator? Beyonce Knowles that year.
It was Knowles, and now look what's going on this year. They got another OC, and then brought in Matt Patricia, who's an old NFL head coach, and look what he's doing right there. They have one of the most complex defenses in college football. No one's really able to move the ball at all, at least consistently on them. And so that's my point, is drop the bag, man. Bring these guys in. Spend a couple mil on coordinators. This is the new era of college football. You have to. So I really like that stance, but that's just me. I'm more aggressive when it comes to that. Rob says he wants to keep Katie and Joe Hamilton as well. Yeah, I think recruiting is massive. I think that'd be really good to bring them back as well. I'm assuming you agree, EJ.
Yeah, for sure. They're great.
How long should it realistically take to rebuild Florida into an SEC contender? 1 year. one year. If you bring in Lane Kiffin and he does the transfer portal class and we can win the national championship next year. I think that's why it's so attractive to have Lane Kiffin as your head coach, because he can bring in the talent. He's so consistent every single year. He doesn't have rebuild years. And you're not going to have a rebuild year at the University of Florida with all the with the fan base being behind Lane Kiffin, which they're going to. They were behind not Billy Napier, but they were behind the university there. Still to this day. In Billy Napier's last game, Mississippi State, it was super loud. It was sold out. We're like 15 or 16 sold out games in a row now at home under a Billy Napier led program that didn't go over 500 all time. So like this is just that's just a testament to how great of a program you got. You have the fans. The patch means so much. That logo means so much. You can bring in, go ahead, DJ. You can bring in any guy you want talent wise too.
Well, it's a good question in the sense that how long did we give Billy Napier? Okay, we gave his ass 4 years, and we got worse, pretty much. Well, except for the last 5 games last year. That was the only time where we trended. I would say you could turn it around in a year with Lane Kiffin, but I do think, given the timing of his hiring, he won't have the full benefit of a full offseason of recruiting. So the recruits this year are pretty much, it's not even now, unless you have a situation where the recruits that are signed with Lane Kiffin right now, he says, okay, I want to pick and choose the best ones to come to Florida. And then he can convince the best ones that are committed to Florida to stay. You could, in theory, compete in year 1. I would definitely, though, say by year 2. Mm-hmm. In year 2, you can tell who the elite coaches are in college football. Okay? Go back and look at everything everywhere. Okay? Even going back to Nick Saban, which was a completely different time in 2007. But that 2006 year, they were okay. I think they were 6-6.
Yep.
2007, they were back. They were elite the very next year. Then you look at Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer actually went 9-3 his first year at Florida. The second year, national champs. Ohio State, Ted Ginn Jr., opening kickoff return. Guess what? Very next possession, Dallas Baker, touchdown maker in your face. Okay? What you got to say now, Ohio State? Then you look at a guy like Kirby Smart. I think they went 8-4 his first season, which is like the baseline record at Georgia, even when he wasn't there. Here's a crazy stat for everyone, because I looked this up years ago. In the 25 years before Kirby Smart got to Georgia, they had only won 6 or less than 8 games once. The 25 years before Kirby Smart got there. So that just tells you that program is just naturally a winning program. So in year 2, if you're not doing something great, you're probably never going to, is basically what I'm saying. So I think it should be by year 2. The interesting thing, though, will be the quarterback. Lane Kiffin goes with how the quarterback goes. Mm-hmm. And if he's got an elite quarterback, he is going to be one of the most dangerous teams in the country. And I'm not sure. Now, I think every coach outside of Lane Kiffin 100% would be like, we're keeping DJ Lagway on the team. But with Lane Kiffin, I don't know if that's necessarily the case, because Lane Kiffin is such a great quarterback coach and whisperer. He's going to come in and evaluate DJ Lagway, and he's going to say, if y'all didn't have DJ Lagway, I could bring in a guy that I know is going to be like Austin Simmons, Trinidad Chambliss. We're going to be scoring 35 points a game without DJ Lagway. So the question is, if we're keeping DJ Lagway, is he going to be scoring 35 or more points for me next year? So now all of a sudden DJ Lagway is in a situation where he's going to be evaluated as to whether or not he can do what Lane Kiffin wants him to do, as opposed to Billy Napier, well, he's definitely our starting quarterback. There's no competition. I don't even care about Harrison Bailey and the backup quarterback and whoever that is. We're gonna be Tramel Jones. We're just gonna be playing DJ Lagway. I don't care if he throws 10 interceptions. If every pass is an interception, he's still gonna be the quarterback. It's not gonna be that way with Lane Kiffin. So that's an interesting dynamic. But I agree with you. I think that we could win immediately with Lane Kiffin. We can meet if Lane Kiffin was the coach this year. Hell, we'd probably have one loss, but we'd probably be a lot better than we are now. So year two, I would say year two instead of year one. But in year one, you could definitely tell that you're trending in the right direction.
Totally agree. Totally agree. The guys at the Air Nation Football Podcast have the 3-year rule. As you can usually tell when a guy's going to be good. Like if they don't make it to that base, like that national championship or now playoff, I guess, contention in the first 3 years, are never going to reach it. And it's only been broken by one guy, and that was Harbaugh at Michigan. So just fun fact there. Unfortunately, don't think Lane is leaving Oxford. Who realistically is the next coach? That's Big Smart Mans. We just had a whole conversation on that last week. If you want to go watch the video on our top 4, and then we have a 5th as well, like an honorable mention type of position as well, that we dove into. And then we just did an not updated ranking today, but we looked at all the games that all the head coaches that we had ranked. We looked at all the games that they played this past weekend yesterday, and just kind of gave an updated, hey, do we still feel the same about him? Do we not? I think it's 50-50 with Lane right now. I think EJ probably feels the same way. My number 2 is Jeff Brom. I like Jeff Brom a lot from Louisville. I think he brings a great offense. A high-flying offense, is aggressive, very aggressive, wins big games, is not scared of the bright lights, and has also been head coach for a while and has brought up a few programs to a really, really high standard. But I think there's a big drop-off after Lane no matter what. EJ, your number 1 was Lane as well. Who was your number 2?
So my number 2 was Marcus Freeman, who apparently said no.
Yeah.
And then, but I agree. Like if Lane Kiffin falls through, which I don't know, if I'm a betting man, I'm going to say Lane Kiffin does come to Florida. But in the event that he does stay at Ole Miss and wants to be mediocre, then we don't want him. We need to move forward to another guy. Me personally, if it wasn't Lane Kiffin, I gotta be honest, I gotta go with James Franklin. I know that's not popular because he got fired, and people are saying, well, he didn't win enough games. Hell, who wins the games until you actually win it? And the thing is, Lane Kiffin's been a head coach for 13 years. He just won his first ranked road game against Oklahoma. So, to me, the reason I go with Franklin is because he's available. You can literally hire him tomorrow and name him the head coach tomorrow. Then James Franklin knows the SEC. I think he is going to, whoever you bring in at Florida, we're going to recruit at a top 15 level. It's just been our default. Can he get us into that top 6, 5, those top 5 classes? And then, bring in elite coordinators to perfect some of the things that he got wrong while he was at Penn State. I also think at Penn State, in the Northeast and Midwest, there is a material difference between Ohio State and Michigan recruiting channels versus Penn State, right? Like Penn State is like, they're kind of like, if you're comparing them to an SEC team, I'd probably say they're like Auburn, So like, if you got an Auburn coach who's winning 10 games a year, you're probably like, oh, that's a good coach, So I don't know. I would go with Franklin because I would guarantee that we would lose 3 games max. And then if he could actually get some coordinators, maybe we could, win more. I think you're totally outside of him and Jeff Brom. I think you're totally rolling the dice on anybody else if they're materially where you want to be. Because I think these other guys, and you can get somebody else that comes in and goes 8-4, like Jamie Chadwell at Liberty, who's I think it was it who was it? Joshua was like, we're gonna get another P5 coach. Well, if you get Chadwell at Liberty, we're probably going 8-4 every year.
Kurt Signetti came from James Madison.
Kirk Signetti spaghetti. I'm telling you. He probably just stayed there because he's in his 60s. He's probably like,
yeah, he's happy.
I'm like, I'm not going to put up with that crap. But outside of, okay, so I got a revised top 5. Lane Kiffin, go all in, throw the Brinks truck. Marco Rubio, go to the Treasury, get the Brinks truck, drive it down to Oxford, park it there, and just say, Lane Kiffin, if you want this, come on to Gainesville. Number 2, James Franklin. Why? You can hire him tomorrow, get a head start on all the recruits and, building your team to go 9-3 bare minimum next year. Number 3, Braum at Louisville. Why is he a hot name right now? Hell if I know. But Louisville is a pretty good team, and he beat Miami. Number 4, I am not a Eli Drinkowitz fan, so I'm gonna bump up
Jeff Fish.
No, not Jed Fish. No. I think if we hired first of all, if we hired Jed Fish, Eli Drinkowitz, Brent Key, or Kenny Dillingham, the fan base is going to be like, WTF are we doing? Scott Strickland is a moron. He can't close. He's a complete idiot. What are we doing with ourselves? I personally think outside of Franklin, I would go Dillingham at Arizona State because he's the closest to Todd Golden style. Like super young, connects with the players, knows the state of Florida. Did he have some SEC or was that at FSU?
That was at FSU.
Yeah. So, well, at least he knows state of Florida, and he's got like a little attack that maybe we can, he has a big ceiling, unknown. Brent Key, Georgia Tech, I think is probably the same as Eli Drinkowitz, honestly. And although I do think he's a solid coach, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there, man. Yeah, I mean, my number 1's James Franklin, and then I got Jeff Braum at number 2. Huge drop-off after that. I like Kenny Dillingham as well. He's not my favorite, but I feel like he's definitely up there. I feel like you have to throw in, I mean, look, what Fish has done, he's more of a risk, but I feel like you're taking a risk on anybody after this. I don't mind. I mean, James Franklin, like what is it Bismarck? But Bismarck is saying does make sense. I mean, no buyout, spend the money on coordinators. He's going to have a chip on his shoulder. He has SEC experience, so there is that. I don't know if the culture fit is going to be necessarily great at the University of Florida.
He's a politician. We don't want we want like somebody's going to tell you like it is,
Right, that's what I'm saying. He's more, I don't know, just more what's what I'm looking for? Oh man. Calculated, and I don't know. I like a guy that's a little bit impulsive, right? Yeah, that's why I'm not. But would I hate it? And I wouldn't hate it, but I wouldn't love it. So that's why I have kind of all those guys up there. So what is that? That's probably my 4.
Why? Okay, so why don't you like Drinkowitz?
I I had Drinkwitz in my top 5 last week, and so he'd be up there, probably at number 4, number 5. I think I had him at 3. I don't know, man. I just feel like, he's only been I guess he was at App State. It was 1 year there, came to Missouri. He's done a good job at Missouri. There has been very easy SEC schedules, though, while he's been at Missouri. I feel like one thing I like about him is he did give up offensive play calling. He is a guy who puts his players first. The players love playing for him. He loves coaching for him, and he also recruits very, very well at Missouri. Top 15 or top, what was it? I had the stat last week. If you guys want to watch the video, it was like top 15 recruiting class every year he's been there, something insane like their top 20, and then like top 25 transfer class. Like he's done a really good job. Or no, I think that might have been Jeff Braum at Louisville. I don't know, but I know he's doing a really good job recruiting over there. where he's at in Missouri. So, which is good because no one who the hell wants to go to Missouri, So he's doing a good job getting out there, getting talent, and so you do have to respect that. But at the same time, not a great quarterback position, and that does lie on him as the head coach, though, to get a quarterback in there that is not so one-dimensional like Bo Pribula is. But I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind him. So he's also top 5. But after that, huge drop off. You're taking even a bigger risk. Bismarck said, "What if the current coaching staff goes on a run the last 5 games? Maybe Billy was holding them back, and now the leashes will be off." Yeah, no, I don't think you keep them as a head coach no matter what. I think you go off and get a new guy. Okay, realistically, let's say that you beat Georgia, you beat Kentucky, you beat Ole Miss, you beat Tennessee, and beat Florida State.
Okay, if we did that,
that's crazy.
Give Billy Gonzalez the job.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna call it right now.
Yeah, I agree.
If we win those last 5 games, I'm giving Billy Gonzalez the job.
I agree. That's insane.
There's no what is the debate at that point?
Yeah, no, for sure. That's what, like, at least 3 top 25 wins.
Well, you would have beaten Lane Kiffin,
which is crazy. You would
have beaten
Kirby and Heupel.
You beat Kirby, Kiffin, and Heupel, and Norvell, but so has everyone else.
You beat a Kentucky team that's a little bit, we got to go to Kentucky, play a team that's been playing teams hard. Like, that's that's a good little stretch right there. So if he goes on if he wins all 5 games, keep him. 4-1, still extremely impressive because that means that you beat Kiffin and Heupel. You go what was it? The last 5 games, you go 3-2. That's impressive, but I'm still probably I'm moving on at that point. But
yeah, I'm happy with 3-2, but
4-1, 5-0. Yeah, I'm probably gonna keep Gonzalez, I would say.
Oh yeah, it's done. It's a done deal. So
I hire an offensive coordinator, but I don't know if we win 5 in a row. That means that the offense is going though. I don't know.
I would just keep him. It'd be like the Michigan thing where you kept the guy. But here's the thing. Can I just throw one quick? Because I know we're over.
Yep.
But I'll just throw one quick wild card that nobody's thinking about. Okay. Ryan Day. Now, hear me out. Okay. And everybody's like, we're not going to get Ryan Day. You're smoking crack. Okay. It wasn't even a year ago. Because I got the receipts. We all got the receipts. Ohio State wanted Ryan Day fired after the Michigan game. Okay. He was a dead man walking. But you know what? The lucky thing happened for him. Instead of having a 4-team playoff, he had a 12-team playoff. So his team made it. And that team was so talented that they broke through, got hot after the month off, and won the national championship. Now, a lot of that, they didn't have to play Michigan. But that saved his job. If he did not win, he's won 89% of his games in 7 years. If he did not win all those games, they would have fired him. All I'm saying is keep your eyes out for Ohio State versus Michigan this year. Wait, where's that game? I think it's in Michigan.
It's at Michigan in Ann Arbor.
And Ohio State is a good team, but I'm watching some of these teams are playing. Some of these teams are playing. They're slow. They don't got a quarterback that can throw. Hell, when they played Texas, Texas played the worst game I've ever seen, and Texas is not even that great. And it was a 14-7 game. So I'm saying that to say Ohio State could be in a whirl of hurt if they had to play Alabama, Georgia, Texas A&M. If they had to play all 3 of those teams back to back like we do, Miami, you think they'd be ranked number 1? No. So all I'm saying is watch that Michigan game. Watch that Michigan game. Watch the Big Ten championship. If Ryan Day doesn't win all those games, let's see what the fans are saying about him. Because if they get rid of him, which I think would be insane, but Ohio State is ready to do it because you know why? They got Marcus Freeman on speed dial. They will, in 2 seconds, call up Marcus Freeman and say, hey, Ryan Day he can't beat Michigan. Come over here. You love beating Michigan when you were here. Marcus Freeman would jump on the Autobahn and he'd be in Columbus in 2 seconds. The reality is, let's watch that Michigan game. Let's see what happens. They want him gone if he doesn't win. And then guess what? I don't know at that point.
I don't think that Joshua said, what do you think about Lincoln Riley? I don't think Lincoln Riley wants to come to Florida at all. I think he's chilling over there. If we dig it, if Lincoln Riley was interested, then he's probably my number 2.
Well, they're saying that he doesn't like LA. That's the rumor mill, is that he's made comments to people that maybe he wanted to get out, that he doesn't like LA, he doesn't like the lifestyle. He likes it more what you offer in that Southeast or Midwest.
If he truly is interested in the Florida job, he would be my number 2, behind Kiffin, for sure. He's finally fired Alex Grinch. He has a good defense now, or not good. They're good. They're a lot better than what they were. They're taking strides. He's the quarterback whisperer. He's a great quarterback wherever he is. He would be my number 2 pick, Lincoln Riley. If he was interested, DJ, where would he land on your list?
Oh, easily top number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But here's the thing. As I'm looking at these, so Lil Lincoln Riley is making $11.5 million at USC, and I can't find what his buyout is. Can you find it?
Yep.
I think it's got to be like 80 mil. It's probably something ridiculous because he signed a ridiculous contract.
My God. Yeah, it's about 80 million.
Yeah, so it's 80 million. So here's the deal. That's the other thing about these buyouts is that if a coach gets 2 or 3 years in and they're kind of like, I don't like it here, but I'm still winning enough for them to not fire me. It sucks because it's kind of like, do you want to mutually depart? And you miss out on the $80 million. So to me, let's see what happens. I mean, people say Lincoln Riley doesn't want to come to Florida because it's the SEC and he doesn't want to be in the SEC and having to compete against the best teams in the country every single week. Although I don't think that's the case anymore with our schedule change, because, we don't play LSU and Tennessee guaranteed anymore. So it's a little bit of a wild card. I don't know. Lincoln Riley would definitely be my number 2. If Lane Kiffin said no, then what's a face? What's our AD? Scott Strickland?
Yeah.
Strickland. Do your job and freaking call up that Jimmy Sexton and say, Jimmy Sexton, I know you eat cheeseburgers all day, but here's the deal. I need Lincoln Riley. Get him out of the contract and get him into the Florida Gator hot board.
Yeah, that buyout's insane. That's ridiculous. So probably not going to see him, but I would not mind Lincoln at all. At all. All right, you ready to go to these Week 10 picks? We've been going for a little bit, so we can.
Yeah, let's hit these Week 10 picks, and then we appreciate you guys, and this has been it's a fun discussion for us.
Yeah, no, this was a really good time, man. We do appreciate you guys, man. Let us know your picks when you can make them with us. North Carolina at Syracuse. Syracuse favored by 1.5. This is Bill Belichick versus a backup quarterback. Who do you have, EJ?
Oh man, give me Syracuse 24-21 cover.
Wow. All right, I'm going North Carolina. I just can't see him going 2-6, right? That'd be insane. Next one we have Virginia at Cal. Virginia favored by 4.5. Both teams coming off of dogfights. I think Cal lost. Virginia somehow won. Virginia was looking forward to this game, I believe. having to travel to Cal. I like the Cal quarterback at home, Jaron Cowie, whatever his name is. Let's go, baby. I got Cal.
Ooh. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, these freaking ACC games where you're going across the country. I mean, the half the team probably got the flu, but just flying over there. But I'm gonna go Virginia. Give me Virginia Cavaliers. Cavaliers cover.
I respect it. Next one we have Arizona State at Iowa State. Iowa State favored by 3.5. Iowa State, I think, has three losses in a row now, if I'm not mistaken. So can Arizona State bounce back after that loss last week, EJ, and get it done?
Ooh. The only thing though, Iowa State's lost those games, but when you're playing at home, you flip a coin. Who does it? No, you pick a team that you think is going to win. Okay, then you flip a coin, and then you pick the opposite. So I'm going Iowa State upset against Arizona State. No, it's their favorite.
Iowa State's favorite.
Iowa State gets the big win.
I like it. I'm going Arizona State. I really like them as a football team. Next one we have Georgia Tech favored by 6.5 at North Carolina State. We're going to pick the spread here.
Give me Georgia Tech to cover. Roll it on in the Wolfpack. You don't got to howl now, do you, NC State Wolfpack?
I like Chandler Morris, or not Chandler Morris. Who's the North Carolina State quarterback? That's Virginia. God, I forgot his name. Really, really solid quarterback. Bro puts up crazy numbers every single game that he plays. I'm going to pick North Carolina State to cover, but I do think Georgia Tech does find a way to win. But Georgia Tech's going to get caught, and this might be the game where they outright lose it. Next one we have Miami favored by 11.5 at SMU. SMU coming off of a really close, or no, I think they lost if I'm not mistaken. They did. They lost to Wake Forest. We talked about that earlier. Were they looking ahead to this game? I believe it. I'm going to take SMU to cover the spread in this one. I think Miami wins by 10.
Give me Miami, and give me Miami big in this one. I think the Canes are going to come in there, and SMU, you're in Dallas, so you don't ever know what a hurricane feels like. You're going to know what it feels like in this one. Miami, big.
There you go. Next one we have Cincinnati at Utah. Utah favored by 7.5.
Ooh. Okay, now this one is a good game, guys. Ooh. Man. This is a tough one. Oh. Damn. Bearcats are undefeated. They're playing their hair on fire. But anytime you have to go to Utah, where it's like your nose starts bleeding, you wake up, you start getting lightheaded, you don't know where you are, you got vertigo. They don't sell alcohol, so you can't make the pain go away. So, oh man, give me Utah in a close game because Cincinnati is lightheaded and you can't drink alcohol.
I totally agree, man. I think being around all the Mormons will get to him. I have Utah getting the W, baby. Let's go. Next one, we have South Carolina at Ole Miss. Ole Miss favored by 13.5. We're going to pick the spread here, man. South Carolina defeated after last week, obviously, but kept it. Should have beat Bama, in my opinion, there toward the end. How do you feel about this one, EJ, picking the spread, 13.5?
I think it's going to be a good game. I think it'll be another close game. Give me South Carolina against the spread because I think Ole Miss is going to be a little bit distracted, and they're coming off a big win. South Carolina, they're a little bit demoralized, but I think they'll put up a good fight. I think Ole Miss will still win by 11. I'm going to go Ole Miss 38-27, not enough to cover.
There you go. I'm going to go Ole Miss here. I was thinking South Carolina as well, but can they keep it close 2 weeks in a row? I don't know. I think they're defeated after that. I got Lane Kiffin having a big win here by more, probably 14 points. Next one we have USC favored by 6.5 at Nebraska. This is interesting.
Both teams 5-2. I do like USC coming off a bye here. Wait, is Nebraska coming off a bye?
Nope.
Who knows?
Nope. Just USC.
All right. Give me a little Lincoln Riley to win. Man, are they going to win by 7 points? Give me you. Yeah. Is this the spread? Are we going to spread here?
No, we're just going straight pick them.
Okay, USC straight up.
Same here. Next one we have Mississippi State at Arkansas. Arkansas favored by 4.5. Can Jeff Lebby get his first SEC win as a head coach?
This is freaking crazy, man. Mississippi State, what the hell are you doing? 2 weeks in a row, you had the game won. You could have won 2 games. You could have won your last 2 games. I literally just want to like stab myself because of how terrible y'all have been. Is it at Arkansas?
It is at Arkansas.
Give me the Razorbacks running wild with them hogs.
I'm taking Mississippi State. They're gonna win one eventually, man. I'm banking on that. We're opposite on like 9 of these picks, CJ. It's crazy. Next one we have Vanderbilt at Texas. It's gonna be this should be like a top big. Vandy should be ranked like number 7 or something now. It's gonna be insane. Texas favored by 2.5. Straight pick 'em here.
Oh man. Okay, first of all, Vanderbilt played Texas pretty tough last year. Okay, does anyone remember that? I don't think you do. Vandy in an upset against Texas.
I like it. I don't think it's enough, though. I like this Texas team. I think they're very talented. I think they're even more talented. Obviously, way more talented than Vandy. I don't think Diego Pavia is going to be able to go there to the Texas field and get a win. So I have Texas winning and covering for sure. Next one, we have Oklahoma at Tennessee. Tennessee favored by 3.5. I think this kind of just comes down to which quarterback do I trust more, and I trust Aguilar way more. Mateer's just way inconsistent. He'll make really good throws, and they make throws like, what the hell? Like, what do you, like, that make you just scratch your head and ask what in the world he's doing. I have Tennessee getting a win here for sure.
Yeah, give me the Vols. Big. I'm going to say Tennessee 45, Oklahoma 30. Big.
Yes, sir. All right, there you go. This could be our picks for this week, man, on SwampCast. We'll be back next week to, of course, dive into it, talk about the Georgia game, prep for Kentucky, I believe, and then go through all these games here. Last week, I went 7-5, and EJ went 6 and wait, hold up. Let me make sure I'm saying that right. 1 second.
6-5, 7-4.
7-4 and 6-5 all time. I'm 55-36. EJ 64-27. So I had one game on him. About time finally. And this week we picked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games opposite. And so it's gonna be absolute hell. It's gonna be a great time, man. We'll see who's winning, who's losing, who's on top, who's not. Gonna be great. EJ, any last words to everyone out there?
Well, Gator Nation, so we playing Georgia football this weekend. I miss when these games meant something, you know. Now it's just like Georgia's playing for everything and Florida's just hoping to spoil your day, you know. But let's see what happens. But here's the fun thing. So that Sunday, we're going to do the pod, and then I'm going to hop on the plane and go to Vegas for the Florida Gator basketball opener against Arizona Wildcats. So basketball season starts not this Monday, but the next Monday against Arizona. We had a secret scrimmage against Illinois, who's another top-ranked team. We were able to win that one by 10. Boogie Fland, I think he had like a scheduling conflict because, you know, he's big and bougie, so he didn't play. But we won that game. Maybe you went there, Logan. It was in Orlando. So we had a great win. Maybe you're at Epcot. I don't think it was out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Gator basketball starts. I really think this team, the Arizona game is going to tell us a lot. If we can win that game and do a lot of the things that we were doing last year, except have a little bit more of a scoring ability with the guards, which is kind of crazy to say because, you know, you had Walter Clayton Jr. last year, but it's going to be a great year for us. I really do think that, and maybe we can win back-to-back. I don't know. We'll see. But we'll do a little bit of a preview of that game quickly as well.
Yes, sir. Can't wait, baby. See what happens. Definitely need to be good in something. Appreciate you guys, man. Have a great weekend. Gator football's back, baby. Let's see what happens. Appreciate y'all. Go Gators.
Go Gators.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown!
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.